For generations, fox spirits who achieved immortality and took human form were known for their devastating, nation-toppling beauty. Every man who crossed their path fell helplessly in love. This is Arya, the last of the fox spirit clan. True to their foxy nature, her ancestors had countless lovers before settling down. But Arya was the exception. She was completely devoted to her fiancé, never even glancing at another man. Unfortunately, reality was about to slap her in the face. The night before her wedding, her fiancé heartlessly dumped her, caught up with another woman. She had wanted to be a virtuous, gentle, and considerate wife, but now her devotion felt like a huge joke. Arya looked at her reflection in the mirror, replaying the recent events in her mind. The drama between men and women is so complicated, she mumbled. She felt a sudden urge to turn back into a fox. Being a fox is so much simpler. All you do is eat and drink. And as a rare silver fox like me, I could probably even find a great owner to spoil me. Arya found a hidden spot and transformed back into her original form. It had been a while and it felt a little strange. She trotted on all fours to a pond in the park, feeling dejected. I'm a fox spirit, for crying out loud. Not only can I not play with people's hearts, I can't even keep my own man. Looking at her reflection in the water, she had to admit she was a pretty cute fox. Maybe some kind person will just pick me up and keep me as a pet. Sob, sob, I'm done with being human. It's too exhausting. As Arya wandered aimlessly, a large shadow suddenly fell over her. She turned around, wondering what it was. Oh, it's just a dog. You scared me. The vicious dog opened its mouth and charged. Arya froze. Oh no, I forgot I'm a fox right now. She immediately bolted. The dog chased relentlessly after her, and Arya was scared out of her wits. Am I going to die here today? Help! Somebody please save me! Suddenly, Arya felt herself being lifted into the air. She looked to the side, confused, and saw a tall, powerful man holding her by the scruff of her neck. Arya stared at him, lost in thought. She had never seen such a handsome man in her life. He had such a cold aura that even the vicious dog that had been chasing her was now whimpering and trembling. The man lifted Arya and examined her closely. So it's a fox. Another man, Julian, walked up. And a silver fox at that. What's something so rare doing here? Did it escape from a zoo? He then lifted her hind legs to check. Whoa! And it's a female! Arya was mortified. Nothing this embarrassing had ever happened to her. Don't you mess with a fox or you'll get the claws. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got, and she swiped her paw right across his face. Look, she scratched my face. Just as he was about to retaliate, the first man turned his back to him and said, Don't touch her, she's mine. Julian yelled in frustration. Kyle, I thought you were a germaphobe. Why are you picking up this stray fox? The man, Kyle, ignored him and walked toward a car. Julian scrambled after him, yelling, Wait for me, you're choosing a pet over your friend? Held in Kale's arms, Arya was completely bewildered. What's happening? Am I being kidnapped? She struggled with all her might. Hey, I don't actually want to be someone's pet. I was just kidding. Why is tonight so unlucky? She looked at the two men with a dazed expression, wondering what was going on. Were they really going to keep her as a pet? Kale looked at the little fox and said coolly, Stay here and be good. I'm going to take a shower and I'll be right back. His best friend, Julian, teased from the side, You won't even spare a fox? No way. Is he going to do things to me? That's some heavy-duty taste. I'm so cute. How could he? No, it's too dangerous to be around this guy. I have to escape. In the bathroom, Kyle showered, thinking about the little creature. She was so warm and soft he could still feel her fur on his hands. Was this why his mother loved foxes so much? Meanwhile, Arya was clumsily searching for an exit. She climbed onto a table to see if the window was an option, but accidentally knocked over a box. She paused. Oh no, did I break something? She hopped down to check and tilted her head in confusion. What is this? The crystal inside the box suddenly burst with a dazzling light, then transformed into a wisp of green smoke that flowed directly into Arya's body. As the smoke entered her, the birthmark on her face vanished. She sat there, dazed, not knowing what had just happened, only that her body felt incredibly comfortable, and her mind felt clearer than ever. A moment later, Kale finished his shower and walked toward the room, asking his butler, The fox didn't run away, did she? The butler replied, As you instructed, sir. All the doors and windows are locked. She can't get out. As Kale reached for the door, Arya heard his footsteps. This is it! What am I going to do if he comes in and tries something? In a flash of panic, she had an idea. When Kale opened the door, he was speechless. The room was a mess. He thought to himself, Do foxes really wreck houses? The butler was shocked. What happened in here? By then, Arya had already slipped out from behind them. It's been so long since I was in fox form, I almost forgot I can turn invisible. The butler went to the window and saw it was still shut tight. How did she get out? He wondered aloud. Cale picked up the box from the floor, his expression cold. That damn fox stole my mother's memento. The next time I see her, I'll skin her alive. On the road, Arya ran freely. I've run this far, I should be safe now, right? She then shifted back into her beautiful human form. Stranded in the middle of nowhere, her only option was to call her brother. She took out her phone and dialed. A short while later, a car pulled up. The driver was her brother, Leo. Leo got out of the car. Aren't you supposed to be marrying Evan tomorrow? What are you doing out here in the middle of the night? At the mention of Evan's name, Arya's face fell. Don't say that name again. Her eyes welled up with tears. Leo was completely confused. Arya, are you okay? Don't cry, what happened? Later at Leo's house, Arya sat on the sofa, looking in a mirror. She touched her face, puzzled. That's weird. Where's my birthmark? Leo handed her a glass of water. That Evan is a real piece of work. Cheating on you with another woman. I'll find a chance to teach him a lesson. Arya's face was stained with tears. It's my fault for being so stupid. I couldn't see his true colors after all these years. I deserve this. Leo sighed. Forget it. Don't think about it anymore. No matter what, your big brother will always have your back. That night, Arya was on the phone with Aunt Elena. Don't be too sad. Aunt Elena comforted her. Matters of the heart are up to fate. By the way, did you and Evan ever, do the deed? Arya blushed. No, of course not. I listened to you, Aunt Elena. I didn't let him touch me before we were officially married. That's probably why we broke up. Aunt Elena breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. You must always remember my words. The Silver Fox clan is different. You have a constitution that attracts heavenly lightning. The evil deeds of anyone you partner with will bring retribution down on you. You absolutely cannot choose the wrong person. I know, Arya replied, her voice filled with sadness. After hanging up, Arya lay in bed, lost in thought. Ugh, why am I so unlucky? I was literally born to be struck by lightning. But hey, this is a chance for a fresh start. No more being a lovesick fool. I'm going to pour all my energy into my career. A fox spirit's life is full of challenges, and I don't have time to waste. I'm going to be a happy little fox. As she was thinking, Cale's face popped into her mind. The way he held her in his hands, their eyes meeting, that handsome, perfect face was now seared into her memory. She slapped her cheeks to snap out of it. Stop it. I said no more being boy crazy. A gorgeous guy like that would never be interested in me anyway. The next day, Arya went to work. What? A business trip to Bristol City? Her boss replied, Yes. The reporter we sent had an accident, and we need someone to take over. This is a great opportunity for you to gain experience. Are you interested? Arya thought for a moment, then nodded. I am. A colleague, seeing she was down, came to comfort her. I know you're upset about the wedding being canceled, but you don't have to run away to a different city. Arya sighed. Don't worry, I'm not running away or giving up. Besides, he's not worth it. I just want to leave some troubles behind and start fresh. This business trip is the perfect opportunity. I can't stay like this forever. I need to grow. Looking at Arya, her colleague was stunned. She seemed different from before, so vibrant and full of life. Even the birthmark on her face was gone. It was so strange. Starting today, I'm going to make it on my own. No more being a useless damsel. But reality was harsh. As she was carrying her suitcase up a flight of stairs, she tripped. In that critical moment, a man caught her. His name was Zane Vesper, a top-tier billionaire. Miss, are you all right? Zane asked with a gentlemanly smile. Arya saw the handsome man and her face immediately turned red. I'm fine, she stammered. Zane smiled. That's good to hear. He then asked, Are you here on vacation? Still flustered, Arya mumbled, I'm not a tourist, I'm here on a business trip. Thank you for your help just now. You're very welcome, Zane said. It's getting late. Why don't I give you a ride? Where are you headed? No, thank you, I can manage on my own. He's so handsome and looks like he comes from a wealthy family. Why would he hit on a normal girl like me? Something's not right. I better be careful. Hearing her refusal, the man insisted, Are you sure? It's hard to get a cab this late. Arya smiled politely. It's okay. My colleague is coming to pick me up. Thank you for your concern. She waved goodbye and walked away. After she left, a handsome young assistant approached Zane. Sir, why the sudden interest in that girl? Zane replied, She has a familiar scent about her. It's very faint, but it holds a special meaning for our Vesper family. The assistant was confused. What kind of special meaning? Zane turned with a smile. Have you forgotten? Our family has been a line of celestial masters for generations. Arya dragged her suitcase along and called her colleague. What? You can't come pick me up? I'm so sorry, Arya. the voice on the other end said. I'm stuck in a huge traffic jam. You can either wait a while or you can grab a cab and come over. It's fine, I'll figure something out, Arya replied. Just then, two men walked toward her. Arya looked up and froze. It was them! Julian, seeing her staring, assumed she was about to hit on him. Hey, beautiful, he said with a wink. But to his surprise, Arya pulled her hat down and hurried past. Don't panic, she told herself. They only saw me in fox form, they can't possibly recognize me. Julian was left feeling awkward. I thought she was going to hit on me. Why'd she run off? Kale teased. Maybe she got a closer look and realized how repulsive you are. Julian's temper flared. You're making fun of me again? We're here on business, Kale said, turning serious. Don't mess around. Julian was exasperated. Just because you're not interested in women doesn't mean you have to drag me down with you. On the highway, Arya sat in the back of a cab. Sir, why are you taking the long way? I'm looking at the map, and this is completely the wrong direction. The driver was arrogant. Stop complaining. If you don't like it, get out. He slammed on the brakes, and Arya and her suitcase were thrown out of the car. Go walk the rest of the way yourself, the driver yelled viciously. So high maintenance. What's the big deal if I make a few extra bucks off you? He then sped off. Arya was speechless. You heartless driver, don't you have any decency? She sighed and started dragging her suitcase down the massive, empty highway. She took out her phone. Ugh, I guess I'll have to try a rideshare. A few moments later, a car approached. Arya waved her hands excitedly. Hey, I'm over here! Suddenly, a little boy darted out onto the road. The car was moving fast, and the boy didn't seem to realize the danger. Arya's heart jumped. Is this some kind of cliché drama plot? Where did this unlucky kid come from? Am I supposed to be the hero and save him? The car was about to hit him, but the boy just stood there, frozen. Is he scared stiff? Arya thought. At the last second, she ran forward. She pushed the boy out of the way. But she ended up falling in front of the car herself. Her eyes widened as the car was about to run her over. Just in the nick of time, someone grabbed her from behind and pulled her to safety. Zane held her in his arms, his eyes glaring fiercely at the car. You again? Arya said. She looked at the man, then her cheeks flushed as she got lost in his handsome face. Are you hurt? Zane asked, concerned. Just then, another urgent voice called out as Julian rushed out of the other car. Is everyone okay? Arya shook her head. I'm fine. But as soon as she said it, she winced. A sharp pain shot through her knee. Julian flashed a charming smile and extended his hand. Well, look who it is. We meet again, miss. Hop in, I'll take you to the hospital. He grabbed her wrist. Arya quickly pulled back. No, that's not necessary. Zane stepped forward. Don't trouble yourself, Mr. Julian. I'll take her. Arya was stuck in the middle, feeling awkward. What's with these two? I already said I'm fine. Julian saw he had competition. He forced a smile. Well, if it isn't Mr. Vesper, it's been a while. Indeed it has, Zane replied coldly. I need to get this young lady to a hospital, so if you'll excuse us. It's just a scrape, Arya muttered. It's not a big deal. Zane ignored her and grabbed her other arm. The three of them stood there in a stalemate, neither man willing to let go. Arya finally had enough. She shook them both off and yelled, I said it's just a scrape. I don't need to go to the hospital. At that moment, another shadow fell over them. Arya looked up. Him too? Kale looked at the woman before him, a strange feeling washing over him. He didn't know why, but every time he saw her, he felt a special connection. They stared at each other for a long moment. Noticing the scrape on her knee, Kale said nothing and simply swept her up into his arms. Well, what are you doing? Arya stammered, her face turning red. Kale didn't answer, but his disdainful look was enough to silence her. Julian, seeing his friend had won, looked smug. Haha, what did I tell you, beautiful? Let's go. And you can go too. Zane picked up her suitcase and walked over. My car seems to have broken down. I'd appreciate it if I could catch a ride back to the hotel with you. Julian was furious. Hey, hold on! Who said you could get in my car? Humph, car trouble, my foot. I don't even see a car. And showing up here without any bodyguards? He's definitely up to something. The car drove on, the atmosphere inside thick with tension. Arya sat surrounded by the three handsome men, feeling incredibly awkward. What is this situation? Zane finally broke the silence. How's your wound? Does it still hurt? I'm fine, Arya replied. Julian chimed in with a teasing smile. Want me to put some medicine on it for you, beautiful? No, thank you. Arya quickly refused. Kale just sat there quietly, reading his documents without a word. Kale suddenly looked at Arya, his gaze sharp as a knife. She felt a shiver run down her spine. Why is this ice block staring at me? Have we met before? He asked. We just met at the airport, remember? Arya replied nervously. Her answer didn't seem to satisfy him. No, I mean before that. Arya's heart pounded. His eyes seemed to see right through her, but he couldn't possibly know she was the little fox from that night. She composed herself and replied coolly, "No, you must be mistaken." Kale didn't press further. Arya let out a silent sigh of relief. "Even though I'm surrounded by handsome men, it feels like I'm walking on eggshells. Somebody save me. This is even scarier than being chased by a dog." A short while later, they arrived at a hotel. Arya looked around and marveled. Wow, rich people really know how to live. Kale was already walking toward the entrance, looking at his phone. Julian turned to Arya. "What are you waiting for? Come on in. My private doctor can take a look at you." Arya quickly declined. No, that's all right. Thank you for bringing me into the city. I can get a cab from here." Zane turned his head. "Don't be in such a hurry. Come inside. Your wound needs to be treated. As it happens, I'm also staying at this hotel." Arya gave a polite smile. "Thank you for your concern, but my injury is fine. I can just put some medicine on it when I get back." She gave a deep bow. "Thank you all for saving me. I'm truly grateful. Hopefully, we'll meet again someday. For now, I'll be taking I'll be leaving." After Arya left, Julian pointed at Zane and teased, "I rarely see you act like a simp and still get rejected. Looks like your charm is wearing off." Zane didn't bother to argue. He turned and walked into the hotel. "I have things to attend to, so I won't keep you." Julian's inner gossip couldn't be contained. "I remember you always keeping a polite distance from women, Mr. Vesper. Why were you so concerned about this particular young lady today?" Zane stopped and replied coldly, "Excuse me, but that's my private business. It's none of your concern." He then walked straight into the hotel. Inside the hotel, Julian asked curiously, "Why did you suddenly pick up that girl? That's completely out of character for you. Aren't you a huge germaphobe? What happened? Did your persona crack?" Kale's face was unreadable. Her scent was familiar, and it wasn't unpleasant. "And I'm sure I've met her before." He walked toward the elevator. Julian followed him. "So you're just going to let her go? It's late, and you're letting her go home by herself? Where are your manners? I brought her to a place where she could easily get a cab." "That's enough," Kale replied. Julian teased, "I thought you were interested in that beauty and were about to make your move. Turns out you took one step forward and then just stopped." Kale fell silent, thinking back to what just happened. "She's an outstanding woman, so it's best if she stays far away from me. She shouldn't get close to someone like me, a person cursed to be alone." A little later, Arya finally arrived at her temporary residence. It had been a roller coaster of a day. As she dragged her suitcase out of the car, her colleague Chloe came out to greet her. "Arya, you finally made it." "I'm so sorry I couldn't pick you up," Arya replied politely. "It's okay. See? I managed to find my way here on my own." Chloe smiled. "Come on, I'll show you to your room." In the room, Arya applied medicine to her leg, wincing at the sting. "Ouch! Good thing I'm cleaning it. It would be awful to get another scar. So much has happened lately. I dumped a cheater, took on a major work assignment, and even found the courage to save someone. I even surprised myself, and the birthmark on my face is gone. How did that happen?" She thought back to the day she turned back into a fox. It seemed like everything started changing from that moment. Her thoughts were making her sleepy. Whatever. I should stop overthinking and get some sleep. I have a lot of work to do tomorrow. At the hospital, a man asked, "So she's the young reporter taking over for me?" Chloe nodded. "Yep. What do you think? It's not often the paper sends a beauty like her." The man, Mark, sighed. "This kind of work really isn't for a young girl like you." Arya asked, "Did you injure your leg during an interview?" "It was a car accident," he replied. "But visiting those unscrupulous factories is also pretty dangerous. You need to be careful." Arya was full of determination. "Don't worry, sir. I'll take over your work and see it through. I'm not afraid." As she left the hospital room, Arya sighed. "Okay, maybe I'm a little afraid. The people I'm investigating are tied up with local gangs. This is going to be a headache." Just then, Julian walked up and greeted her enthusiastically. "Well, if it isn't Miss Arya?" Arya forced a smile. "Oh, Mr. Julian, what a coincidence. Just call me Julian," he said, not liking the formal title. "You hear about your leg?" "My leg's fine. I was visiting a colleague," Arya replied, a wicked smile spreading across her face. "Just you wait. I haven't forgotten what you did." She took a sticky note out of her pocket. "What are you writing?" Julian asked curiously. "Oh, nothing," Arya said casually. "You know, as a reporter, I'm always jotting down ideas. By the way, how's that little boy? Is he okay?" "He's fine," Julian replied. "He keeps saying he wants to thank you in person. I can take you to see him sometime." Arya leaned in. "How about today? I happen to be free." As she spoke, she secretly stuck the note on Julian's back. Julian, completely unaware, blushed. As much as I'd love to accept a beautiful lady's invitation, I'm busy today. How about next time? Arya feigned disappointment. That's okay. We can go whenever you're free. After Julian left, Arya was ecstatic. Serves you right. That'll teach you. Ha 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 ha. Her laughter died in her throat when she looked up and saw Kale. They stared at each other in awkward silence. You saw everything? Arya asked, her heart sinking. Kyle stood with his hands in his pockets, his expression cold. Yeah. Do you hate him that much? Arya, with nothing left to lose, turned her head. Yes, I do. Why? Kale asked. Arya didn't know how to answer. Before she could come up with an excuse, Kyle started walking upstairs, waving a hand dismissively. It doesn't matter. Feel free to mess with him. I don't mind. Watching him leave, Arya broke out in a cold sweat. For some reason, she always felt so tense around him. He had such a handsome face, but he always acted so cold and gloomy. Does he think he's some kind of Ice Prince CEO? I'm over my pretty boy phase. Your good looks don't affect me anymore. And you were part of what happened that day, so I'll be getting my revenge on you too. In the hospital corridor, Julian was getting stared at like a circus animal. Even an old man in a wheelchair was gawking. When he got to his office, his assistant looked shocked to see the note on his back. Julian was getting more and more confused. I know I'm handsome, but the number of people staring at me today is just not normal. His assistant walked over and said awkwardly, Sir, you have something on you. What is it? Julian asked. The assistant peeled the note off and handed it to him. It read, Lonely bottom seeks top. Julian's face turned beet red, and he started shaking with rage. Who did this? He roared. No wonder everyone was staring at me. I walked all the way here with this stupid note on my back. I'm going to lose my mind. After his meltdown, Julian thought back. It must have been Arya. She's the only one who got close enough to me. Just then, Kale walked up from behind him. You finally figured it out? You're not very perceptive. Julian whirled around. You knew about this, didn't you? And you didn't tell me. Kale looked at a file. Did you do something to offend her in the past? It seems like she's deliberately getting revenge on you. Julian was baffled. Offend her? I've dated a lot of girls, but I don't think I would have forgotten one as beautiful as her. Maybe you should think harder, Kale said nonchalantly. His prodding made Julian suspicious. Wait a minute. You're paying way too much attention to this girl. This isn't like you. Do you have feelings for her? You're overthinking it, Kyle replied. She saved Nada, so she did us a huge favor. I just don't want you causing trouble for her. Julian waved his hand dismissively. What a weak excuse. Even if she hadn't saved Nada, those guys would have been begging to do business with us. What does that have to do with anything? Is it because Zane Vesper is interested in her that you're suddenly so invested? Just stay away from her, Kyle said possessively. Julian sighed. Fine, I won't touch her. Even if she is a little devil, I'll leave her alone. Kale looked down at Arya from the window. Not a devil, he thought. More like a cunning little fox. The girl is sent by her boss to be a spy, only to be captured by a rival tycoon. Inside the Dragon King Hotel, Arya was disguised as a cleaning lady. I know being a reporter means dealing with all sorts of situations, but I never thought I'd end up going undercover. She recalled Mark's instructions from the hospital yesterday. He said going undercover was the only way to find out about the target's illegal dealings. But can a rookie like me really handle such a big assignment? This came from a senior reporter at the paper. If I fail, I'll definitely be fired. Arya looked at herself in the mirror, feeling a pang of doubt. Ugh, if it were anywhere else, it would be fine. But it had to be here. This is the hotel where those guys are staying. What am I going to do if I run into them? Arya pushed her cleaning cart to the 15th floor, praying she wouldn't see anyone she knew. Just then, a young voice called out from behind her. Miss! She jumped, startled, and turned around to see the little boy she had saved a few days ago. Arya breathed a sigh of relief. I was just thinking about visiting you. You weren't hurt that day, were you? Nada's face was filled with panic. Miss, you're a reporter, right? You shouldn't be here. You need to leave quickly. How did you know I'm a reporter? Arya asked. Suddenly, a group of menacing men strode toward her, led by their boss, Rameses. Of course we know, Rameses said, cracking his knuckles. We already warned your colleague, but it seems losing a leg wasn't enough. You actually dared to send someone else. Arya's heart sank. So they were the ones who hurt Mark. Did that mean she was going to die here today? Nada stood in front of Arya, spreading his arms to protect her. Don't you touch her! The men ignored him and simply picked him up. This is adult business, kids, stay out of it. With Nada restrained, Rameses turned to Arya with a wicked grin. The one they sent this time is a real beauty. Not bad. At least you have some value before we kill you. Arya glared at him, thinking, just you wait, I'll turn into a fox and scare you to death. Rameses didn't lay a hand on her. Instead, he dragged her to a suite, tied her hands, and threw her inside. Just wait, Arya thought. The second you close that door, I'm turning into a fox and getting out of these ropes. Rameses turned back and warned, Don't try anything funny. I can see your every move. Arya got up and looked around. As a reporter, she was sensitive to cameras, and this room was covered 360 degrees. Is this guy a pervert? She couldn't help but wonder. Be a good girl and wait, Rameses told her. We'll deal with you after our meeting. He then left the room. After he was gone, Arya slowly shuffled toward the door. I shouldn't transform unless it's my last resort. If anyone finds out what I am, I'll have to spend the rest of my life in hiding. But this is also a good opportunity to find out who they're doing business with. A moment later, she heard footsteps outside, followed by a cold voice. Rameses, we're here. Arya pressed her ear to the door, listening intently. The voice sounded familiar. After a moment of thought, her heart started to race. It was them. The person here for the deal was Kale. Startled, Arya accidentally bumped into a cabinet, making a loud noise. Kale glanced toward the adjacent room. Is someone else here? I don't like having an audience for my business. He turned as if to leave. Rameses quickly explained, It's just a little kitty we caught. I was going to get rid of her, but I thought seeing blood before a deal would be bad luck. Don't worry, Kale, she won't leave here alive. Hearing their conversation, a chill ran down Arya's spine. Kale sat down on the sofa, exuding an air of authority. Fine, let's get straight to the point. A greedy smile spread across Ramesses' face. About the price we agreed on. Before he could finish, Kale cut him off coldly. You'll only get half the goods you asked for, and the price is going up by 50%. Ramesses' expression soured instantly. I thought we were friends. Kyle shook his head. I don't have friends. I only have enemies and non-enemies. In the next room, Arya listened with rapt attention. This sounded like a classic gangster deal, but from the way Kale was talking, it seemed more like he was here to cause trouble. In the main room, Rameses clenched his fists in anger. You changed the terms at the last minute. Do you think you can just walk all over me? If you weren't here in good faith, why did you even come? Kale looked at him with disdain. I didn't come here to make a deal with you. I came here to destroy you. The words had barely left his mouth when the sound of gunshots filled the room. Arya jumped. They're shooting at each other. I don't want to die here. Just then, the door to her room was thrown open. Arya's blood ran cold. She let out a small whimper, convinced her life was over. But it was Julian who walked in. Miss Arya, fancy meeting you here. It's a small world, isn't it? Now, what should I do with you? Mr. Julian, don't you dare do anything funny, Arya said nervously. Kale appeared in the doorway looking at them. Julian turned to him. So, should we silence her? Nada looked up. This lady doesn't know anything. Please, let her go. Suddenly, Arya stood up as best she could and yelled, If you're going to kill someone, kill me! Don't touch the child! Kale walked over and looked at her coldly. Arya broke out in a cold sweat. You better not touch me, or you'll regret it. Kale ignored her and simply said, Come with me. Arya was stunned into silence. If you don't go with him, Julian said, he might actually do something. Arya quickly followed. She looked at the bloodstains on the floor and was confused. There had clearly been a gunfight, but where were the bodies? And despite all the commotion, no one else in the hotel seemed to have noticed a thing. It was as if he controlled the entire place. Who was he? He couldn't have this much power. As they were walking, Zane Vesper appeared, walking toward them. Miss Arya, I was just about to look for you. What a coincidence. Would you do me the honor of joining me for lunch? Arya looked at him with a sense of dread. No, thank you, Mr. Vesper, you're too kind, she said. Hearing her refusal, Zane persisted, but Kale stepped in front of her, blocking his path. Mr. Kale, Zane said, would you be so kind as to let this young lady go? I feel a connection with her, and I hope you won't make things difficult for her. I'm not making things difficult for her, Kale replied coldly. She's coming with me willingly. Zane looked at Arya. Is that so? Knowing she was in a precarious situation, Arya forced herself to nod. Yes. Zane sighed. In that case, I won't insist. I'll pay you a visit some other time, Miss Arya. Let's go, Kale said, turning to leave. Arya hurried after him. Julian glanced back at Zane, thinking, this is so weird. Ever since this woman showed up, both Kale and Zane have been acting strange. What's so special about her? She's just pretty. Julian leaned in for a closer look. No, wait. Arya noticed Julian getting too close and raised her hand to slap him. What are you doing? Kale asked, turning around. Arya's hand froze in midair. Julian snapped out of his daze, flustered. What's wrong with me? I've seen countless women. I can't be falling under her spell, can I? The two of them were in the car, and the atmosphere was awkward. Arya found herself staring at Kale, lost in his handsome features. He had the sharp, defined lines of an Eastern man, but also the deep-set eyes of a Westerner. His crystal-clear eyes were addictive. If only he wasn't so cold. Kale sensed her gaze and looked up. Arya quickly looked down, blushing. "Do you know who Zane Vesper is?" he asked. "No," she replied. "Do you know who I am?" he continued. Arya shook her head like a bobblehead doll. She didn't want to know. The more she knew, the more likely she was to be silenced. "I don't know." Seeing her like this, Kale fell into thought. This girl was as cunning as a fox. She knew how to play it safe, pretending to be obedient to fool her enemies. She knew she couldn't pull any tricks in front of him, so she acted as tame as a well-groomed kitten. Kale looked at her, reminded of the silver fox he had picked up a few days ago. He remembered the mess she had made in his room, and the gemstone she had stolen. He sighed. "Ugh, another unpleasant memory." After a long silence, he said, "The Vesper family are the financial oligarchs of the world. Their family fortune is in the billions, and they've never made a losing investment. They're a legend in the financial world. The Vespers are very low-key, but from what I know, they have another profession. They call themselves descendants of celestial masters, said to be the best in the world." Hearing this, Arya's eyes widened. "He's a celestial master?" Kale was puzzled by her strong reaction. "Why is it that you're not surprised when I say he's a financial tycoon, but you're so shocked to hear he's a celestial master?" "I've heard that celestial masters can not only read fortunes but also practice divination," Arya explained. "You just said they've never made a losing investment. Could it be that they predicted it all themselves?" The thought of Zane constantly trying to get close to her made her nervous. No wonder she always felt he was dangerous. Celestial masters were the mortal enemies of her Fox clan. Could he have discovered her true identity? "Besides their own family," Kyle said coolly, "very few outsiders know about their identity as celestial masters." Arya was horrified. "So now that you've told me this secret, what am I going to do if he tries to silence me?" "If he really tries to kill you, I'd be interested in watching," Kale replied. "Because I'm very curious why Zane Vesper is so interested in you." Arya was exasperated. "What does that have to do with me? Please, just let me go." The car stopped in front of a luxurious villa. Arya got out, feeling conflicted. How did she end up here with him? Should she say goodbye now? But talking to him was so intimidating. Arya led Nata to the side and patted his head. "Thank you for standing up for me today, Nata." The little boy's face was tense. He brushed her hand away. "I didn't do anything useful. I couldn't save you." Julian walked over. "You've got some nerve trying to be friendly with him. Do you even know whose son he is?" "Whose son is he?" Arya asked, confused. "He's one of the reasons we're here," Julian said with a flourish. "I thought your target was Ramesses," Arya said, puzzled. Julian scoffed. "A small fry like him isn't worth our time. Come on, let's go inside." He took Nada's hand and led him into the house. Arya followed closely behind, thinking it was better not to know. The more she knew, the more dangerous it would be. She needed to get away from them as soon as possible. As she entered the courtyard, Arya saw bodyguards lining both sides. Escaping was going to be difficult, and they knew her name and her profession. With his resources, he could find her easily. It was probably best to say a proper goodbye. Inside, Kyle was sitting at a table drinking red wine. Arya walked straight up to him and said nervously, "Mr. Kale, thank you for saving me today. But it's getting late, and if I don't get back, my colleague will be worried." Kale glanced at her coldly. "You think you can just leave after overhearing our business?" His glare was terrifying. This man is so scary, she thought. "I didn't mean to overhear anything. I was a victim too. Ramesses tied me up. I had no choice but to listen," she argued. "You heard what you heard," Kyle replied nonchalantly. "I only care about the result." Arya was at her wit's end. This man had no sense of fairness. What could she do to escape his clutches? Suddenly, an idea struck her. "How about we make a bet?" "What kind of bet?" Kale asked, intrigued. "If I can escape from here without you catching me, you'll drop the whole eavesdropping thing and we can pretend we never met. Deal?" Hearing her proposal, Kale paused. Why did she have that same cunning, fox-like quality? If she had a tail, it would probably be wagging right now. The thought amused him. "All right," he said with a smirk. "You have 24 hours. If you're still here by this time tomorrow, you'll be at my mercy." Seeing him take the bait, Arya grinned. "Great, it's a deal." "No one has ever escaped from me," Kale said, trying to intimidate her. His words sent a shiver down her spine. "Really?" she stammered. Just then, Julian came up from behind them. "Oh, please, a fox escaped from your room once. I remember you were furious." Hearing Julian expose his embarrassing past, Kale's face darkened. Arya couldn't help but burst out laughing. "So my last escape worked that well? It actually made him that angry?" Kale was embarrassed by her laughter. "I was not furious," he snapped, turning away to sulk. "Is he okay?" Arya asked. Julian waved his hand dismissively. Don't worry about him. Let's go eat. He put his arm around Arya and led her away. Why isn't he eating with us? Arya wondered. He's a germaphobe, Julian explained. He doesn't like eating with other people. This confused Arya even more. She thought back to how he had carried her in his arms and her face flushed red. A short while later, Arya, now changed into a beautiful dress, was sitting at the dining table. During the meal, Nada whispered, Miss, come here. I want to ask you something. He leaned in close. I heard you made a bet with Kale. How are you planning to escape? I have my ways, Arya replied cleverly. But I need you to do me a favor. That night in the villa, Nada was skeptical of Arya's plan. Really? All I have to do is go tell Kale you're gone at 2 in the morning? That's right, Arya said. That's all you need to do. Nada looked at her, unconvinced. Miss, are you sure you know what you're doing? Arya nodded. Don't worry, it'll work perfectly. Now go back to your room and get some sleep. She closed the door behind him. Nada walked back to his room, half believing her. Can she really escape from right under Kyle's nose? The hours ticked by. At exactly 2 a.m., Nada went to Kale's door and knocked. Brother Kale, Miss Arya is gone. Kale was surprised. What did you say? He rushed to Arya's room. The room was empty. Julian stood beside him, stunned. She's really gone. Kale's face darkened. What about the surveillance? Did anyone see when she left? The butler replied, The surveillance shows nothing unusual, sir. She didn't even open the door. The windows are also equipped with a security system and there's no sign of a breach. Arya, who had long since turned into an invisible fox, was waiting in the room. She seized her chance and trotted right past them. Heh. Fooled by the same trick twice. That's gotta sting. Kale sensed something behind him and turned to look. Arya froze in her tracks. No way, did he sense me? He's too sharp. What is it? Julian asked. Did you find a clue? Kale turned back. It's nothing. Arya quickly scampered away. That was close. I thought he really saw me. As she passed Kale's room, she stopped. Maybe I should leave him a little souvenir? Julian was in awe of Arya's escape. This is so weird. Your security system is top-notch. How did that girl get out? Kale was reminded of the silver fox from before. It's just like last time. She just vanished into thin air. Suddenly, Julian yelled, Kale, you have to come see this! What is this in your room? The two of them went to the room and saw a giant word scrawled on the white wall. Dummy. Julian couldn't help but laugh. Ha ha ha! She really left you a nice present. Just then the butler appeared at the door. Mr. Julian, you might want to check your room as well. Confused, Julian rushed back to his room. On his pristine white wall was a single word, bottom. Julian was so angry he could have spit fire. That wretched woman! Kale added salt to the wound. Serves you right. Julian stomped his foot. Butler, get my wall back to normal now. Once things calmed down, Kale looked at Nada. What did she ask you to do? I didn't do anything, Nada replied nervously. Kyle looked at him doubtfully. Are you telling the truth? Nada turned away angrily. Humph, I'm not lying. I didn't help her escape. I just came to tell you she was gone. Kale turned and walked away. Where are you going? Julian asked. To find her, Kale replied and left the room. Julian had never seen Kale so focused on someone before. He couldn't help but think it was romantic. A wicked grin spread across his face. Could it be that my boy is finally in love? The butler couldn't help but comment, Mr. Julian, please control your expression. Arya ran back to her place panting. Oh man, that was exhausting, but I'm finally back. That whole situation was so dangerous. There's no way Mark and the newspaper didn't know about it. They just watched me walk into a lion's den. I'll make them pay for this. When Arya reached the reporter's station, Chloe rushed out looking frantic. You're finally back. Did something happen? What kind of assignment did Mark give you? Why were you out so late? I'm fine, Arya said. Sorry to make you worry. Chloe smiled. This Mr. Vesper was worried sick too. If you hadn't come back soon, he was about to call the police. Zane Vesper walked up and greeted her warmly. Miss Arya? Remembering he was the celestial master, Arya instinctively took a step back. Chloe, thinking she was just being shy, nudged her forward. Mr. Vesper was so worried about you. You should thank him properly. She then pulled the other colleagues inside. We'll leave you two to talk. Arya stood there, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Arya subtly shifted a few more steps away. Zane noticed her deliberate distance and asked with a disappointed look, Are you afraid of me? Of course not, Arya explained. Mr. Vesper, you are a man of great stature and gentle character. Why would I be afraid of you? Zane slowly shook his head. No, you are afraid of me. Suppressing her fear, Arya said, half jokingly, You look like a rich young master. What could you possibly want from me? I have nothing for you to be afraid of. Anyway, Thank you for your concern. I'll be going now. You should be careful of Kale, Zane said coldly. Arya turned back. What are you trying to say? Zane's expression grew pained. Whether you believe me or not, I have to warn you. That man, Kale, is cursed. Everyone who gets close to him meets a tragic end. That is his fate. He is a very dangerous person, and I hope you will stay as far away from him as possible. Arya fell silent, remembering what Aunt Elena had told her. The Fox clan has a constitution that attracts heavenly lightning. That was the fate of her clan. Thinking about how she too had been born with an unfair destiny, Arya's gaze hardened. I'm sorry, Mr. Vesper, but I don't believe in fate. Zane was taken aback. Arya continued, if I had followed my so-called fate, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I wouldn't even be alive. But I still fought to change that destiny. And while I don't know what kind of person Kale is, and he has nothing to do with me, I will always believe that our destinies are in our own hands. If you blindly cling to some preordained fate, you'll only be trapped by something that doesn't even exist. Hidden in the distance, Kale heard every word. Arya's attitude was completely unexpected. Her words echoed in his mind. He sat down on a bench and lit a cigarette. He remembered when he was born, a celestial master from the Vesper family had told him he was destined to be alone, a curse on his parents and any woman he loved. But the stars also foretold great success in his career. As he grew, his loved ones passed away one by one. Before his mother died, she told him to keep the gemstone safe. It might be the key to changing his fate. Then the gemstone was lost, and he met Arya. This was the first time someone else believed, as he did, that a person could defy the heavens. Thinking of Arya, a small smile touched Kale's lip. This woman was truly interesting. After a long and eventful day, Arya collapsed into bed at the hotel. As she was sleeping soundly, she heard a scraping sound at the window. She groggily opened her eyes and saw Kyle standing by her bed. Arya screamed and shot up in bed. How did you get in here? I thought we agreed you'd leave me alone. Kyle sat down on the edge of her bed. You don't believe in fate? Arya instantly understood. He had heard her conversation with Zane, but that didn't give him the right to break into her room. That's right, I don't, she said coldly. My parents defied fate to keep me alive. If I believed in fate, I wouldn't be here today. What happened to your parents? Kale asked. His curiosity piqued. That's my private business, she replied. I don't want to talk about it. Kale didn't press her. He crossed his arms, looking smug. All right, then. We won't talk about you. Let's talk about me. Arya covered her ears. I'm not listening. Why are you telling me this? I don't want to know. The last time I accidentally heard a little bit of your business, you wouldn't leave me alone. If I know any more, you'll definitely silence me. Kale stared at her, his eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions. He stood up and pulled her hands away from her ears. Be my companion, he said. Arya was confused. What did you say? Kyle leaned in close, his voice domineering. I said, I want you to stay by my side. Do you not understand? Arya jumped out of bed, fuming. What is this? Some new kind of pickup line? It's so weird. You might as well just say, be my woman. It's much more straightforward. Kale scoffed. In your dreams. Who wants you to be their woman? I said I want you to stay by my side. Are you deaf? Arya was furious. If you don't know how to talk to people, then don't. And sorry, but it seems you're the one who's dreaming. I'm just here on a business trip. When my work is done, I'm going home. I'm not staying by anyone's side, and you're not my type at all. Kale was getting angry. You prefer a two-faced scumbag like Evan? You have terrible taste. You investigated me, Arya accused, her anger flaring. There's nothing I can't find out if I want to, and nothing I can't get if I want it, Kale replied confidently. Arya was speechless with rage. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Arya, are you okay? Chloe called out. I heard noises in your room. Are you on the phone? Hearing her friend's voice, Arya saw her chance. You hear that? Someone's here. You better leave now before I call the cops on you, you creep. Kale moved quickly, pulling her into his arms. What are you doing? Arya stammered, completely flustered. I'm going to open the door, Kale said with a smirk. He tightened his grip on her waist and kissed her deeply. Arya's mind went blank. He held her so tightly she couldn't move. Chloe opened the door to see the two of them locked in a kiss. She froze, embarrassed. Arya, what's going on? I'll just go. She quickly closed the door, a smile on her face. Haha, so sorry to interrupt. After Chloe left, Arya shoved Kyle away. You can't just kiss someone without warning. Explaining would have been too much trouble, Kale said nonchalantly. This was much simpler. Just then, Kale sensed something outside. He scooped Arya up and carried her over his shoulder. What are you doing? Let me down. She struggled. Kale headed for the window. Even if you're kidnapping me, you should use the door. Arya panicked. I don't want to die with you. Be quiet, he ordered. Suddenly, there was a loud banging on the door. Without a second's hesitation, Kyle leaped out the window with Arya in his arms. Arya screamed. The door was kicked open, and Kyle landed gracefully on the ground below. They went out the window! After them! An assassin yelled from upstairs. Kyle started running, still carrying Arya. Why are people chasing you? She asked. Put me down, I can run on my own. They ran until they were both out of breath, finally stopping in an alley. Why did you stop? Arya panted. They're after you, right? Kyle didn't answer. He took out a small, exquisite handgun and placed it in her hand. Find a chance and run. Arya stared at the gun, shocked. I've never used one of these before. Stop hiding! Come on out! Kale called out to the assassins behind them. He then positioned himself in front of Arya, protecting her. You're here for me, right? The leader, a man named Jax, sneered. We were going to take out the woman first, then come for you. But I guess we can kill two birds with one stone. Arya's heart sank. He had run with her to protect her. She was a liability. They were surrounded. Jax yelled, raising his gun. No one involved in that deal is leaving here alive. He fired a shot. Kale pulled Arya behind a corner, and the bullet hit the wall. Kyle held Arya close. Run east. There are people waiting to meet you. He pushed her away. Arya looked back at Kale, her heart a mess of emotions. She never thought anyone besides her parents would be willing to risk their life for her. You have to wait for me to come back and save you, she thought, and sprinted east. Kale watched her run, a cold smile on his face. Good. No hesitation. I like a woman like that. He turned to face the assassins. Seeing him unarmed, the assassins grew confident. All right, kid, let's have some fun, one of them said, pulling out a baton. Arya looked back at Kale one last time, her eyes filled with determination. I have to save him. The assassins swarmed him, swinging their iron bars. Kale didn't flinch, meeting their attacks head-on. Jax, seeing his men were no match for Kale, decided to try a sneak attack. Kale, focused on the fight in front of him, didn't notice Jax aiming at him from behind. But just as Jax was about to pull the trigger, something slammed into him, sending him flying. The bullet whizzed past Kale's ear. Jax's men were stunned. Who was that? Are we seeing ghosts in broad daylight? They looked around, but there was no one there. Kale was momentarily distracted. Was that Julian? He didn't realize another assassin was closing in from behind with a knife. Just as the assassin was about to strike, Arya appeared out of nowhere and landed a series of clumsy but effective punches, sending the man stumbling forward. The stunned assassin could only tremble. Kale seized the opportunity and kicked him away. Just then, Julian arrived with reinforcements. Seeing Kale's backup, the assassins yelled, Run! Julian rushed to Kale's side. Kale, are you okay? I'm fine, Kyle said, wiping his lip. Did you see Arya on your way here? Julian was taken aback. Arya? I thought you went to find her. Wasn't she with you? Kale was silent for a moment. I told her to run east. She should have met up with you. A sharp pain shot through his shoulder. You're hurt? Julian asked, worried. It's just a scratch. It's nothing. Go find Arya, Kale said, starting to sway. Julian quickly supported him. A scratch? Are you trying to get yourself killed? You're seriously injured. You need to get to a hospital. What are you waiting for? I told you to find Arya, Kale insisted. Julian ignored him and ordered his men, Come help me get him in the car. I dare you, Kale growled. His men froze, not daring to move. They wouldn't disobey their boss while he was still conscious. You spineless cowards, Julian yelled. Fine. If you won't do it, I will. He ignored Kale's protests and forcefully dragged him away. Kale, weakened by his injuries, couldn't fight back. It's not like you can beat me right now anyway, Julian gloated. You just wait, Kale muttered. Meanwhile, Arya clutched her bleeding arm, stumbling through the streets. Her vision was starting to blur. I can't stop. If someone finds me like this, I won't be able to explain it. Thank God it's just my arm. A little closer and I would have been a goner. Her steps grew heavier. Just as she was about to collapse, a man walked toward her. It was Zane Vesper. He saw her faint and rushed to her side, catching her before she hit the ground. Looking at the girl in his arms, Zane felt a strange, indescribable emotion. He checked her wound, then carried her back to his home. The afternoon sun streamed into the room as Arya slowly woke up. She looked around at the unfamiliar surroundings. Where am I? Just then, Zane walked in. You're awake. Arya was startled to see him. How are you feeling? Zane asked. Your gunshot wound has been treated. Just make sure not to get it wet for a few days. Where am I? Did you save me? She asked, sitting up. Zane smiled. Don't worry. The maids changed your clothes. I didn't take advantage of the situation. Arya blushed. Thank you for saving me. You told me last night that you don't believe in fate, and then this happened, Zane said. pouring her a glass of water. That's why I told you to stay away from Kale. Arya took the glass. Mr. Vesper, I heard you're a famous fortune teller. Did you predict Kale's fate? Zane paused. It wasn't me. The one who foretold his lonely fate was an elder in our family. Our entire family is known for our fortune telling, but I have another identity. Do you know what it is? Arya had a bad feeling. What is it? The Vesper family are also descendants of celestial masters, Zane said with a half smile. For generations we were known for vanquishing demons and evil spirits. But these days demons are rare, so we've kept that part of our identity hidden. Arya couldn't meet his gaze, her hands trembling as she held the glass. His words echoed in her mind. Rare demons? That's me? I'm a giant fox spirit. Did I transform back into a fox after I was injured last night? Celestial masters are the nemesis of fox spirits. My mortal enemy. She composed herself and asked, Why are you telling me all this, Mr. Vesper? Zane leaned in close, his voice alluring. What if I told you we were destined to be together for 3 lifetimes, Miss Arya? Would you believe me? Arya gasped and shook her head vehemently. A celestial master and a fox spirit destined to be together? She'd die before she believed that. Zane leaned in closer and sniffed. You have a faint scent on you. It's very familiar. Arya broke out in a cold sweat. Seeing that he had achieved his goal, Zane turned and left the room. I'll leave you to rest. You must be hungry, Ari. Come out and have some porridge when you're ready. Arya was stunned. Ari, are we that close? In the hospital, Kale woke up and immediately started looking for someone. Where's Arya? Where did Arya go? Julian held him down. You can't get out of bed yet. Do you know how much danger you were in yesterday? A bullet grazed your heart. Do you realize that? Kale ignored his own injuries and grabbed Julian. I asked you, where is Arya? What's wrong with you? Are you in love with that woman? Julian replied coldly. Why are you so obsessed with a woman you abandoned in a time of danger? Kale sat back down, turning his head away stubbornly. I don't love her, but she's my woman. I ordered her to run, she was just following my orders, unlike you who's always disobeying me. Julian pushed him back onto the bed. You don't love her? Then how is she your woman? I really don't get you. Just lie down. I'll take care of finding her. Were there any survivors? Kale asked, his voice low. Bring them to me. I want to interrogate them myself. He thought back to the previous night. Something felt off. He remembered someone pointing a gun at him, but not only did they not shoot, it seemed like they were mysteriously attacked. He had to find out who was secretly helping him. Outside the hospital room, Julian stood guard. A nurse nervously approached him. I'm here to check Mr. Kale's blood pressure. Julian gave her a wicked smile. Come back later. He's busy. Inside the room, Kale sat on the bed and asked coldly, Tell me what happened. I saw you shooting at nothing. The assassin, bruised and battered, no longer had his arrogant demeanor from the night before. I don't know. I just felt someone bump into me, but when I looked, there was nothing there. What about the woman? Kale continued. Did your men attack her? The captive recalled the events of the previous night. We were going to go after her. I was watching her as she ran and I was about to give chase, but then she just vanished into thin air. Kale fell silent. It seemed his suspicions were correct. There was more to Arya than met the eye. At Zane Vesper's house, Arya tiptoed toward the door, trying to sneak out. But just as she opened it, Zane caught her from behind. Where are you going? Caught in the act, Arya turned around. Thank you for taking care of me. I'm fine now, so I'll be going. Your wound has just started to heal. I can't let you leave on your own, Zane said, concerned. Where are you going? I'll give you a ride. Arya sighed. All right, then. Please take me back to my place first and then to the Hilton Hotel. The Hilton Hotel was surrounded by police tape with officers standing guard. Arya was shocked. What happened? She tried to approach but was stopped by an officer. Please stay back. This is a crime scene. Arya took out her press pass. I'm an employee here. Can you tell me what happened? The officer glanced at her ID. Someone was murdered. The victim was the hotel's HR manager, Mr. Phillips. You're an employee, so you probably knew him. Do you know anything about him? Can you provide any clues? Arya quickly came up with an excuse. Oh, you see, I was just hired a couple of days ago. I haven't even started yet. I'm so sorry, I can't help you. She remembered meeting with Mr. Phillips when she first went undercover. She had planned to ask him for more information today, but now he was dead. It seemed she would have to go ask Mark what was going on. Who had ordered him to put her in such a dangerous situation? Arya returned to the car. Mr. Vesper, She stopped when she saw Zane's grave expression. What's wrong? Did something happen? After he hung up the phone, Arya asked, What's wrong? Zane's face was grim. My father is gravely ill. Arya was surprised. Then you should go home and see him. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine on my own. I can't do that, Zane replied. You're the one I'm destined to be with for 3 lifetimes. Arya was exasperated. How can you still be joking at a time like this? When someone in the Vesper family suddenly falls ill, there's only one reason, Zane said meaningfully. It means they've revealed a celestial secret they shouldn't have. Arya fell silent. She didn't know how to comfort him. It seemed even the family of celestial masters had their own troubles. This was also fate, wasn't it? He saw her lost in thought. Zane pulled her in and kissed her. Arya was shocked and pushed him away. What are you doing kissing me? How can you joke at a time like this? Aren't you worried about your father? Zane turned away. I'm leaving now. Call me if you need anything. I've saved my number in your phone. He then got in his car and drove off. Arya stood there and sighed. What a strange man. In the hospital, Mark, now dressed in street clothes, peeked out of his hospital room. Seeing no one around, he prepared to make a run for it. But Arya appeared and blocked his path. What are you doing here? You're okay, Mark exclaimed, startled. Arya ignored his question and stepped closer. I have some questions for you, Mark. Seeing that he was caught, Mark broke out in a cold sweat. I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you. They said if I sent a beautiful girl over, they'd let me go. They had me captured. I had no choice. Arya was surprised. She had only intended to probe for information, but he had confessed everything. I've recorded everything you just said. I'll be having a talk with you at a more convenient time. Don't do this! I was forced into it, Mark pleaded. Suddenly, Julian appeared and grabbed Mark's shoulder. Thinking of running away? What are you doing here? Arya asked. Hale sent me to help you, Julian said grumpily. I don't know why I have to save a woman who abandoned him and ran away. Arya was speechless. As they were bickering, Kale appeared. That's enough. Julian turned to him. Aren't you supposed to be in bed? Kale ignored him and walked over to Arya, grabbing her arm. Arya cried out in pain. You're hurt? Kale asked, his voice filled with concern. Yes, Arya said angrily. I got it when I ran away. Kale pulled her toward the exit. I know you didn't run away. Arya's heart skipped a beat. How does he know? Outside the hospital, Kale said earnestly, in that dangerous situation, you didn't follow my orders to leave. I'm grateful for your loyalty and deep affection. Arya was completely lost. Wait, where did deep affection come from? Kale, high on his own confidence, continued, you don't have to be so emotional. As a reward, you will be my woman for the rest of your life. I will take care of you and protect you. Stop, stop, stop. What are you even talking about? I'm not emotional because of your words. I'm shocked by your logic. What kind of twisted reasoning is this? Being your woman is a reward? Well, thanks, but no thanks. Seeing her strong reaction, Kale thought maybe his offer wasn't enough. He pulled her into his arms forcefully. There's no woman I can't handle? He then kissed her. As Kale was getting into it, Arya shoved him away. You pervert, why did you kiss me? She raised her hand to slap him. Kale quickly caught her hand. I know your background isn't simple, but no matter what you are, I've decided. You are destined to be mine for the rest of your life. Could he know something? Aren't you afraid my strange background will be your downfall? I'm known as the man even ghosts fear. You don't have what it takes to bring me down. Arya was speechless. Any other questions? Arya turned her head away. Yes, your kissing skills are terrible. What did you say? Arya repeated word for word. I said your kissing skills are terrible. For a grown man to be such a bad kisser, it's pathetic. Do you have no experience? I have no experience? And you're so experienced? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were an inexperienced virgin. Humph, you just wait, he said angrily and stormed off. Haha, I can't believe a man his age is so innocent. Fine, I'll forgive you for being so bad at it. I'm out of here. Miss Arya, this way, please. What are you doing? She struggled. Mr. Kale wants you to rest and recover properly, one of the men replied coldly. Inside the hospital, Kale stormed into a room, his face dark, and zeroed in on Julian, who had had countless girlfriends. What took you so long? Julian complained, resting his head on his hand. You're injured. You should be lying down. You've had a lot of girlfriends, right? Kale demanded. Julian was confused. Yeah, so? How do you usually interact with them? Kale asked. When it came to women, Julian was full of confidence. It's not really interacting. I'm just having fun with them. Hey, why are you suddenly asking about this? You've never cared about my private life before. Kale felt a pang of inadequacy. It seemed he really did lack experience. Julian was completely bewildered. What's wrong with him? He's been acting so strange ever since he met that woman. Could it be that the 1,000-year-old tree is finally about to bloom? In the hospital room, Arya sat on the bed, fuming. That guy had forcibly kept her here to recover. He was so unreasonable. Just then the door opened, and Nada walked in with a man in a suit. Hello, Miss Arya, the man said, introducing himself. I am Nata's father, Lars. Kale told me you saved my son. I've come to thank you. You're welcome, Arya replied politely. I just happened to be there. I'm glad the boy is okay. Lars patted Nata's head. This child seems to have a special connection with you. Now that you've seen your Miss Arya, I have some things to discuss with her. Why don't you go outside for a bit? Arya paused. He was sending Nata away on purpose. What did he want to talk about? After Nata left, Arya asked, So what did you want to talk to me about? I know that Mark betrayed you, Lars said. We will deal with him to repay our debt to you. However, I advise you to leave Kale as soon as possible. He is not someone you can afford to be with. What did he mean by that? It was as if he thought she was desperately trying to cling to Kale. What kind of person did he take her for? She had saved his son without expecting anything in return, and now he was making her out to be some kind of schemer. Was she just too nice and easy to bully that everyone thought they could walk all over her? Just as she was about to retort, she heard faint footsteps. It must be Kale. She immediately put on a pitiful expression. Mr. Lars, you want me to leave Kale, and I have no problem with that. But he's keeping me here. I can't leave. You'll help me escape, won't you? Just then, the door swung open, and Kyle stood there, a dark cloud hanging over him. Lars was shocked to see him. Kale's voice was icy. If you leave now, our business can still proceed. If you dare to say something like that again, don't blame me for forgetting our past connections. Lars weighed his options and, with a clenched jaw, left. Serves you right, Arya muttered under her breath. Kale turned to her. Come with me. I still have work to do, Arya said hesitantly. Don't make me use force, he threatened. Arya gave up. It seems if I want to deal with this guy, I'll need a long-term plan. Downstairs, a flashy Rolls-Royce was parked at the entrance. After they got in, Kale said, I know you've been trying to run away, and I know that, like Zane Vesper, you have some unusual abilities, but don't think you can use them to leave me. When I say I want you, I mean for life. I would rather break both your legs than let you leave my side. A silence fell over the car. Julian, who was driving, was speechless. He asked me how to interact with girlfriends, and I've never talked to any of my girlfriends like this. Arya was bewildered. This man's thought process was not normal. How could she convince him to let her go? After a moment, she said softly, I remember you have a germophobia, right? You probably don't know this, but I had a fiancé before. You wouldn't want a woman who's been with someone else, would you? I know, Kale replied coldly, and I also know your ex-fiancé is a scumbag. You're really not a good judge of character. Arya was stunned. Was he mocking her? And he had investigated her? That's right. That scumbag, she retorted angrily. I've kissed him. If you're such a germaphobe, you should stay away from me unless you want to be disgusted. Kale's temper flared. He grabbed her chin. Then he kissed her forcefully. Arya struggled, her face turning red. As the driver, Julian was extremely uncomfortable. Hey, what are you two doing? Kale, take it easy. Don't do anything crazy. Arya shoved him away. The movement tore open the wound on Kale's chest, and blood started to seep through his shirt. You psycho! Arya yelled, wiping her mouth. You were a germaphobe. It's clean now, he said domineeringly. If you're with anyone else, the punishment won't be this simple. Only inexperienced virgins care about things like that, Arya roared. Kale's eyes widened in surprise. You little fox, you've got some nerve. You know I'm angry, and you still dare to provoke me. Arya froze. Little fox? Does he know my secret? In the car, Arya asked nervously. Well, what did you just say? Little fox? Kyle adjusted his shirt. Has no one ever told you you're as cunning as a fox? Hearing his explanation, Arya let out an awkward laugh. So it was just a metaphor. She thought he knew everything. That was a close call. Seeing her fall silent, Kale turned his head away, looking smug. You are my woman. I don't want to hurt you. So shut up now, or don't blame me for being rough. Arya looked at him, completely exasperated. This sadist. He had no romantic sense at all. No wonder no woman liked him. I don't need them to, Kale replied coldly. What I want, I will get myself. I don't care for all that frivolous nonsense. Hearing his words, Arya fell silent. What had this man been through to become like this? The butler and servants were waiting at the door. When they saw Arya, they were stunned. The young master never let women get close to him. Why had he brought this girl back again? And they both looked so disheveled. They looked at Julian for an explanation. What's going on? Don't ask me, I don't know. He stormed past them. Inside the villa, the butler was applying medicine to Arya's wound. Miss Arya, I can see that our young master cares for you very much. He can be a bit stubborn and cold, but if you just go along with him, he will treat you very well. Arya found her a bit long-winded and replied perfunctorily, I know. Miss Arya, the young master is a very loyal man. He's a germaphobe, and most women can't even get near him. You are the first woman I've seen him be so close to, so please, will you consider our young master? She then turned and left. After she was gone, Arya thought, do I even have a choice? He's brought me to his home. I can't exactly say no, can I? Just then she noticed a handgun on the table. It was the one he had given her for self-defense. As she was staring at it, Kale walked in. What are you smiling at? Arya picked up the gun. I was just thinking about that day. It was my first time using a gun. My aim was terrible. Yes, it was, Kale said frankly. If you couldn't turn invisible, you would have been a goner. So you knew all along. She was also puzzled by how casually he said it. A normal person would have been shocked to hear about something like that. Seeing her dazed expression, Kyle asked, Want to learn how to shoot? I can teach you. Arya raised an eyebrow. I thought you would say something like, My woman is protected by me. She doesn't need to use those things. I will protect you, Kyle replied. But I want you to be able to protect yourself. If you can turn invisible and have some basic shooting skills, you'll be safe no matter what. Arya paused. This man did have some sense of logic sometimes. At the shooting range, Arya got close to him and said playfully, Hey, how old are you? Are you much older than me? Can I call you old man? I'm older than you, but not that much older, he replied. He fired a shot. It hit the bullseye. Arya turned into a little fangirl, grabbing his arm and shaking it. Wow, all bullseyes! I didn't know you were so good. Kale looked at the fawning Arya with a doting expression. It had been a long time since anyone had been this close to him. He was at a loss for what to do. Let me try, Arya said, tugging at his arm. Kyle was still in a daze and didn't hear her. Seeing him unresponsive, Arya looked up. What's wrong? Nothing, Kyle said, turning his head away stubbornly. He handed her the gun. Take a shot, let me see. Arya looked at the gun in her hands. It still felt so heavy. Kale watched her, lost in thought. How long had it been since his mother died that someone had been this close to him? Everyone else saw him as a monster and didn't dare to approach. Those who did get close met with mysterious deaths. It had been so long since someone had stood beside him without fear. He had been like a wandering ghost in the night, drifting alone in solitude, until he met her. The words she had said to Zane Vesper were like a beacon, illuminating his dark and lonely life. He didn't understand what love was, but when he wanted something, he would get it with his own two hands. Kale wrapped his arm around Arya's waist and supported her hand. Your arm strength isn't enough and your stance is unstable. The hand holding the gun is shaking too much. Arya sighed. So basically, I'm not cut out for this. Kale leaned in closer. But you have to learn. This world is full of enemies. You need to be able to protect yourself. Kale's sudden closeness made Arya blush. They say your experiences shape your worldview. What had he been through? Did he, like her, carry a secret he couldn't share? Seeing her lost in thought, Kale said coolly, Focus! Shoot! Okay, Arya replied, her face still red. She fired a shot. The recoil sent her stumbling back, right into Kale's arms. Kale clutched his chest, breaking out in a cold sweat. Arya was horrified. I'm so sorry, did I hit your wound? Kale turned his head away. I'm fine. Arya was filled with guilt. You're injured, you should be resting. I shouldn't have asked you to teach me how to shoot. Are you trying to show me you care? Kale asked coldly. What do you mean, show you? I am worried about you, she retorted. Kale put his hands in his pockets, looking smug. Even if you try to butter me up, I'm not letting you go. His lack of tact left Arya speechless. This man had a terrible personality. Just then, Julian walked over. Kale, honestly, how can you talk to a girl like that? Girls are sensitive. If you upset them, they're not easy to please. Arya put her hands on her hips. What's wrong with being a girl? Why are we so sensitive? I think you're the sensitive one, you perennial bottom. Julian was instantly furious. Who are you calling a bottom? I'm a straight man. I haven't even gotten back at you for last time. Arya giggled. Oh, look who's getting defensive. So fragile. Kale, feeling a bit jealous of their bickering, turned to Julian. What are you doing here? Julian finally remembered his purpose. Oh, right. He leaned in and whispered something to Kyle. Kale then said to Arya, The gun is yours. Keep practicing. And don't even think about running away. He turned and left. Arya watched him hurry off. Did something happen? Why is he in such a rush? Julian walked over to Arya. That's Kale's personal sidearm. It has the longest range of any current handgun and comes with a built-in silencer. Because of the materials, even we've only managed to make a few. The fact that he's giving it to you, you should think about what that means. Arya looked at the gun in her hands, confused. What did he mean by that? So, a kidnapper gives his captive a gift, and the captive is supposed to be grateful? She said coldly. Julian looked at her with a helpless expression. I know you think he has a personality problem, but Kale has been through a lot. A lot of things that normal people would consider wrong, he sees as completely ordinary. I hope you can be a little more understanding. Arya teased. I just realized, you're the one who's truly in love with Kale, aren't you? So why aren't you two together? Is it because of societal pressure? Or are you the type to make a noble sacrifice, loving him from afar, and now that you know he doesn't love you back, you're trying to help him find happiness? Julian stomped his foot in frustration. What are you talking about? Arya quickly backed away. Ha ha, you really are the best bottom ever. What are you running for? Aren't you going to practice? Julian yelled after her. Nope, I never wanted to learn how to shoot anyway. My world is different from yours. Inside the villa, Arya heard voices coming from a room. Curious, she peeked inside. Lars was sitting there with a beautiful young woman. Arya was about to eavesdrop when Julian walked up. She whispered. Inside the room, the girl said shyly, Hello, Mr. Kyle. Lars smiled. Mr. Kyle, this is my daughter, Freya. She's 23. My family rarely does business with outsiders, especially on this scale. If we can't become family, it's hard for me to feel at ease. Kyle's face was a mask of indifference. Arya thought, so that's why he was so nasty before and tried to make me leave Kale. He was trying to push his own daughter on him. Kale, who knew Arya was at the door, said coolly, Stop eavesdropping. Have you mastered shooting yet? Arya walked into the room. No, I'm tired. I don't want to practice anymore. So delicate, Kale muttered. Freya stood up. Shooting? I know how to shoot. The women in our family learn from a young age. Are you interested in shooting, Mr. Kale? We could have a competition at the range. Kale looked at her with disgust and pushed her hand away. You're dirty. Freya's face flushed with shame. What did you say? Julian quickly stepped in to smooth things over. I'm sorry, our young master has a severe germophobia. He doesn't like being touched by strangers. Freya looked like she was about to cry. It's all right. I know Mr. Kale and I are still strangers. We can take some time to get to know each other. Arya stood silently to the side, thinking, what a resilient woman. She can even tolerate that. She must be destined for great things. If it were me, I would have slapped him by now. Lars stood up. Why don't we talk about business first? Freya, why don't you go take a walk around? Kale didn't object. He turned to Arya. You watch her. Don't let her wander off. Why me? Arya said reluctantly. She then turned and said coolly, I'm sorry, but I just got here myself. I'm not familiar with the place, so I probably can't help you. He drags me here against my will and then expects me to do his chores. In his dreams. Freya looked at Arya with hostility. Arya didn't give her an inch and walked straight to her room. Wait, Freya called out. Arya stopped. I'm sorry, Miss Freya, I'm not familiar with this place. If you need help, leave Kale, Freya interrupted coldly. Arya was speechless. Where did this overly confident woman come from? Inside, the men were discussing business. Lars went on and on about the details of the collaboration, but Kyle was distracted, his attention focused on Arya, completely uninterested in what Lars was saying. Kale glanced back at Arya. He couldn't hear what they were saying, but something felt wrong. He saw the two of them walk off together. Kale felt a pang of worry and quickly stood up to follow. Julian stopped him. It's better if you don't go now. Let the two of them talk it out. You can take this opportunity to see how Arya reacts. See if she gets jealous for you. Lars frowned. Let the young girls handle their own affairs. Why are you two so concerned? Kale completely ignored them and walked straight out. In the back garden, Arya said impatiently, There's no one here to bother us. Say what you want to say. Freya's demeanor instantly changed to one of cold arrogance. I have nothing else to say, except that you should leave Kale. Otherwise, don't blame me for what I do to you. Arya asked with mild curiosity, So, you have a thing for Kale? And what exactly do you plan to do to me? I've always been attracted to strong men, and Kale is the best. Only he is worthy of me, Freya replied coldly. As for you, you're just some floozy he met before he settled down. I don't really mind, but I hope you'll leave soon. Arya's temper flared. Who are you calling a floozy? Freya looked down on her. I'm saying this for your own good. Kyle is cursed. He was born to be alone. He's already caused the deaths of his own mother and many of his brothers. You won't have a good life with him. Hearing this, a strange feeling washed over Arya. There it was again. Born to be alone. Zane Vesper had said the same thing. Had he really caused his own mother's death? Seeing her silence, Freya looked smug. And the Vesper family did a divination for me. They said that only my fate is compatible with his. I am his destined wife. If you're scared, then leave Kale now. Otherwise, I will slowly kill off your friends and family and make you suffer for the rest of your life. Arya was furious. Since you believe in all that hocus pocus, then you should also believe that what goes around comes around. Aren't you afraid of retribution? Freya was taken aback but tried to act tough. Don't think you can scare me with a few empty words. Arya's gaze was icy. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just stating a simple fact. And with that, she vanished. Freya gasped, not believing her eyes. She looked around, but there was no one there. Where are you? She called out, her voice trembling. Stop playing games and come out. The next second, Freya felt something cold press against her back. Arya was holding the gun, her voice just as cold. Remember, you are no match for me. If you dare to touch my family and friends the next time, I will pull the trigger. I have no grudge against you, and I have no interest in your precious man. If you like someone, go after them yourself. Stop causing trouble for me. Freya broke out in a cold sweat. Arya lowered the gun. Kale doesn't even love me, so stop treating me like your rival. Freya's face was red with anger. She was about to turn and argue. Lars came out of the villa. Freya, what are you two doing? Hearing his voice, Arya turned and saw Kale standing not far away, watching her. When did he get there, she wondered. Seeing him, Freya ran toward Kyle, tears streaming down her face. Kyle, save me! This woman is trying to kill me! Arya sighed. And now the drama begins. That is a demon! Freya cried, clinging to Kyle. She just disappeared into thin air! And she threatened me with a gun. And she's so promiscuous. I heard from her colleague Mark that she's dating several men at once. Are you really going to keep a woman like that by your side? After she finished, Kyle turned and retorted, I told you you're dirty. Don't touch me. And don't you dare talk about my woman like that. He then slapped her across the face. Lars rushed to his daughter's side. Mr. Kale! I kindly introduced my daughter to you, and this is how you treat her. I think our business deal is off. Kale was unmoved. Don't think I don't know what you're up to, he said coldly. Your mistake was messing with my woman. I will not forgive that. Lars supported his sobbing daughter. Since you're being so unreasonable, you've left me no choice. You just wait. He then helped Freya leave. Once they were gone, Kyle turned to Arya. Are you satisfied? Arya gave him a winning smile. Heh, thank you. Very satisfied. You're welcome, Kyle replied. You're my woman. Of course I'll protect you. He then turned and left. After he was gone, Arya muttered to herself, so unromantic, why is he so grumpy? Julian, who had been watching the show, walked over. So? Kale's not so bad, is he? His words might not be pleasant, but his actions will never let you down. Arya teased. Yeah, he's a great guy. You should hurry up and lock him down. Julian was exasperated. I'm being serious here. I've always made fun of you, and I even pranked you before. Why are you still trying to set us up? Are you really that forgiving? Arya asked, curious. The memory of his past humiliations made Julian's blood boil. I won't forget what you did. But it's rare for him to care about someone. I think if you two were together, he might be able to find happiness again. But I feel like it's so dangerous to be around him, Arya said with a sigh. Does he have any triggers? I don't want to step on any landmines. Besides his hatred for traitors, not really, Julian replied. As for his germophobia, well, when it comes to you, he seems to have thrown all his rules out the window. Back in her room, Arya thought about what Julian had said. Kale wasn't so bad. He was handsome, rich, and even though he was grumpy, he was pretty good to her. And he seemed so lonely. Even though he was always surrounded by people, his heart seemed closed off. The thought made her feel a little sorry for him, and saying that he caused his mother's death was just too cruel. Arya opened the door to her bedroom and was startled. What are you doing in my room? Seeing her so territorial, Kale replied coldly, The entire villa is mine. This room is also mine. It doesn't matter if the house is yours, right now you are in my room, she retorted. Kale ignored her and pushed her onto the bed. I said you are my woman. Arya tried to struggle. Didn't you just say I wasn't your woman? I changed my mind, Kale said shamelessly. You are now. He then kissed her. Arya's heart raced, but the feeling wasn't unpleasant. If her partner was Kale, she might be willing. It was happening a bit fast, but she had to admit, she kind of liked him. After a passionate kiss, Arya asks, Kale, do you love me? Kale froze at her question. After a moment's hesitation, he replied, I don't love you. Arya was stunned. You don't love me, then why are you saying you want me? What do you take me for? You player. She started kicking and struggling. Seeing her resist, Kale leaned in close, his voice domineering. You are mine, I won't allow you to resist. Arya was speechless. You arrogant man, are you crazy? Just then, a gunshot rang out from outside. Kale got up. Stay in the room and wait for me. Don't come out without my permission. And don't even think about running away. I have men at all the airports and train stations. He then turned and left. After he was gone, Arya wondered what was happening outside. Just then her phone rang. "What's wrong, Jax?" Jax's voice was frantic. "Arya, Aunt Elena is missing!" Arya jumped up and started getting dressed. "What happened? How long has she been gone? You asked me to check on her from time to time, right? I went to see her recently, but she wasn't there and she's not answering her phone. Then someone sent me a message telling you to come back within 24 hours and find her yourself. Do you think it's a trap?" "I understand," Arya replied. "I'm coming back now. Wait for me." She hung up and rushed out. She had to leave even if Kale tried to stop her. But as she stepped into the hallway, a large man blocked her path. "You're Kale's woman?" he said, his voice cold and menacing. Seeing him pull out a gun, Arya quickly understood. "You've got the wrong person. I'm his enemy," she said nervously. Better to kill the wrong person than to let the right one go. He fired a shot. Arya dodged, her quick reflexes saving her. She put some distance between them, her mind racing. What was going on? The villa was full of enemies. Where was Kale? And where were all the guards? As she ran outside, she saw a large group of people at the entrance, led by Lars. "Surprised to see me?" Lars said with a smile. "In the end, it was the one closest to you who betrayed you." At the same time, Freya took out a recorder and played it. A voice said, "Arya told me how to bypass the security at Kale's villa. That's how she was able to escape without a trace last time." Arya, hidden in the shadows, listened to the recording, fuming. "That's Mark's voice. I have no grudge against him. Why is he trying to frame me? Good thing Kale knows I used my invisibility to escape, otherwise I'd never be able to clear my name." After the recording finished, Arya stepped out into the open. "I heard someone mention my name. Isn't it a bit rude to make such baseless accusations?" Seeing her, Lars added fuel to the fire. "Miss Arya, you're just in time. Thank you so much for your help." Arya scoffed and looked at Kyle, shrugging. "Are you going to believe his nonsense?" Kyle didn't answer her question. Instead, he said angrily, "Didn't I tell you to wait in the room? Why did you come out? It's dangerous." His words sent a shiver down her spine. This man's thought process is not normal. Freya, seeing their affectionate exchange, was overcome with jealousy. "Kyle, if you change your mind now, I'll convince my father to forgive you, because I still love you." Kyle ignored her, and a strange smile played on his lips. Lars saw it, and a sense of unease washed over him. Wait a minute, where was Julian? He was always by Kale's side. He's not here at a time like this. It must be a trap. "Attack! Finish them quickly!" he yelled. Gunshots echoed around the villa. A bullet flew toward Arya. Kyle quickly pushed her out of the way. "Go!" "I'll handle this. This involves me too. Can't just leave you," Arya said frantically. Kale reloaded his gun. "I'm not that useless. If I can't even protect my own woman, what kind of boss would I be?" "But I can help you," she insisted. Kale said, "Don't let anyone know you can turn invisible. It will put your life in danger." Just then, one of his men dragged over a captured enemy. "Sir, the inside of the villa has been cleared. Should we take out the ones outside now?" "You protect her," Kale said coolly. "I'll take care of the rest." He then walked out. Worried about Kale, Arya told the guard, "Go help him. I don't need you to protect me." The guard, sensing her concern, replied softly, "We're all wearing bulletproof vests, miss. Don't worry." Seeing that he wouldn't leave, Arya thought for a moment. She was just a liability here. It was better for her to leave so he could fight without distraction. "Please protect Kyle," she whispered to the guard. He was confused by her words, and when he turned to look, she was gone. "Miss Arya, where are you?" On the road, Arya ran, panting. She saw a taxi and waved it down. "To the airport," she told the driver. She thought back to what had just happened, worried about Kyle. Was he okay? With his skills? He should be fine. She needed to focus on her own problems. Aunt Elena couldn't be in trouble. But wait, Kale said he had men at the airports and train stations. Would she get caught as soon as she arrived? What other way could she get home without him knowing? As she was thinking, she saw Zane Vesper's number in her contacts and dialed it. In his villa, Zane was sleeping soundly when his butler walked in. "Sir, you have a phone call." Zane groggily took the phone. "Who is it?" I'm sorry to bother you so late," Arya said nervously. Hearing her voice, Zane was instantly awake. "It's you!" "I can't believe you called me. I'm so happy right now." His enthusiasm made her a little uncomfortable. How is your family? Is your father okay? Are you worried about me?" Zane teased. "Don't worry, he's fine." "That's good," Arya said, a little disappointed. "Actually, I called because I need a favor." "I knew it," Zane said. "Go ahead, little fox. What do you need me to do?" Hearing him call her little fox sent a shiver down her spine. No way. Did he really figure out that I'm a fox? Why does the same nickname sound so different coming from him compared to Kale? After a moment of panic, she said nervously, "I need your help. Can you arrange a way for me to get home? I'm being followed by some dangerous people. Of course, Zane replied without hesitation. Go to the airport. Someone will be there to meet you. You're not even going to ask what happened? Arya asked, surprised. Anything you ask, I will do for you, Zane said with a smile. The reasons don't matter. Arya mumbled a thank you and hung up. Even though you're nice, I'm still scared of you. We are natural enemies after all. She also had a feeling he had some ulterior motive. Maybe it was her fox instincts. Outside the villa, the battle was over. Julian was leading his men in cleaning up the scene. Freya, seeing she was outnumbered, had taken her own life. Lars was captured alive. Don't kill him, Julian ordered. We'll have a hard time explaining it to his family otherwise. Yes, sir, a subordinate replied. Inside the villa, Kyle sat on the sofa, his face expressionless. The guard stood before him, not daring to breathe. I'm sorry, sir. I don't know when Miss Arya disappeared. I know, Kyle said coldly. You're dismissed. The guard quickly left. Are you still thinking about that woman? Julian said angrily. She abandoned you and ran away again. This is the second time. For all we know, she was the one who leaked the security information. It wasn't her, Kyle replied. And she didn't abandon me last time. She came back to help me, at great risk to herself. What about the security breach? Julian argued. If she didn't know the layout of this place inside and out, how did she escape without a trace last time? I know how she escaped, Kale said. It had nothing to do with the security. Julian sighed. I think you're completely bewitched by her. In the car, Arya's face was etched with worry. Was Kale okay? Should she call him? She looked through her phone and realized she didn't have his number. She thought, face-palming. Can't believe I'm so stupid. And I don't even have his number. Just then, her phone rang. Her heart skipped a beat. She took a deep breath and answered. Who are you? Kyle's voice was filled with annoyance. Hearing his voice, Arya felt a sense of relief. I'm sorry, I had something I had to take care of, so I left, she said softly. Come back, he ordered firmly. Whatever it is, I'll send my men to handle it for you. No, she replied coldly, not wanting him to get involved. It's important. I have to do it myself. Since you called, I might as well be clear with you. You said you don't love me, so please, just let me go. I don't like being kept like a pet in a cage no matter how much money you have. After hanging up, Arya felt a pang of sadness. Kale stood there, stunned, a feeling of emptiness in his chest. Could it be that he had really fallen in love with her? At the airport, a man approached Arya. Excuse me, are you Miss Arya? I am, she replied. This way, please, the man said with a wave of his hand. A short while later, the man led her to a private section of the airport. Sir, I've brought her. Who are you? Arya asked, confused. My name is Sterling Vance, the man replied coldly. Zane Vesper sent me to wait for you. Oh, thank you, Arya said, a little embarrassed. I'm sorry for the trouble. No wonder Zane is so taken with you, Sterling teased. You're a true beauty. As they walked, Arya caught her reflection in a window and paused. It seemed like everyone was calling her beautiful lately, even a distinguished gentleman like him. But she wasn't that pretty, was she? It all started that day. Ever since that crystal entered her body, her birthmark had vanished and her appearance had changed. Sterling's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Miss Arya, is something wrong? No, nothing, she said quickly and hurried to catch up. After boarding the plane, Arya's mind continued to wander. She was finally going home. She wondered how Aunt Elena was doing. Just then, a subordinate came to report to Sterling. Sir, we've just received word that Kale is searching the airport for someone. It seems to be a very important woman. Arya's heart jumped. Oh no, is he going to send me back? What woman could be so important to Kale? Sterling wondered. Go find out. Yes, sir, the subordinate replied, and left. So, how did you and Zane meet? Sterling asked curiously. We met at the airport, Arya replied. I was struggling with a large suitcase, and he offered to help. Sterling adjusted his glasses. Zane may seem like a warm person, but that's just a front. In reality, he keeps everyone at a distance. For him to ask me for a favor for you, that's a first. Are you sure you're just friends? Aren't you and Zane friends? Arya said coolly, not liking his probing. If you want to know, why don't you ask him? Maybe he'll tell you why he's so interested in me. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired. I'm going to go rest. She then stood up and left. Sterling watched her go, a thoughtful expression on his face. A cunning girl. It's not easy to get anything out of her. Back at the main terminal, an airport official was explaining to Kale, I'm sorry, Mr. Kale, we really don't know where the young lady is. She left from a surveillance blind area. Hearing the words blind area, Kale paused. Could it be him? Prepare the plane, he ordered. I'm going to Serafina City first thing in the morning. At the Serafina City airport, Arya said, Thank you for bringing me back. I hope we'll meet again. Seeing her in a hurry to leave, Sterling handed her a business card. If you run into any trouble in Serafina City, you can call me. I can handle most problems. Arya took the card and joked, You're giving me your personal contact information? Aren't you afraid I'll sell it for money? Sterling pushed up his glasses. I don't mind. Whatever you do, I'll just get it back from Zane. Hearing him use Zane as a threat, Arya sighed. This guy knew her weakness, threatening her with a celestial master. You're a sly one, she said with a nervous smile. Takes one to know one, Sterling replied, crossing his arms. After Arya left, Sterling ordered his subordinate, Follow her. Yes, sir. At Aunt Elena's house, Arya asked Jax anxiously, You've already called the police? What did they say? Jax sighed. They came and took a look. They said there were no signs of a break-in or robbery, and no signs of a struggle. So it's hard to say if something happened to her, or if she just left on her own. Arya glanced around the room. No, someone's been in here. They were looking for something. How do you know? Jax asked, puzzled. Everything looks neat to me. I know Aunt Elena too well, Arya said seriously. I know her habits, how she arranges her things. I have it all memorized. Hearing this, Jax remembered something. Oh, right. I got a threatening phone call later. They said if I called the police again, Aunt Elena would be in danger. They even let me hear her voice. They said you have to handle this yourself. Arya fell silent. Aunt Elena had always lived a quiet life. The only danger she was in was knowing her, a silver fox. This was probably about her. Did they say where I should go? She asked. Are you really going to go? Jax exclaimed. It's too dangerous. Just then Leo burst in. Arya! You left for a business trip without a word and now Aunt Elena is in trouble and you don't tell me? Do you even see me as your brother anymore? His anger scared Arya, and she trembled. Jax quickly defended her. Leo, calm down. Arya was just trying not to worry you. I'm sorry, Leo, Arya said nervously. I might actually need your help this time. Jax, where's the meeting place? Jax sighed. Tonight at 1013 Cypress Road. Arya turned to Leo. Can you get me a pair of night vision goggles? The kind that lets you see in the dark. I can, Leo replied. Good. We'll make our move tonight. After I go inside, you need to find a way to cut the power to the house for a little while. 10 minutes should be enough. Are you sure this plan will work? Leo asked doubtfully. What can you do in just 10 minutes? Don't worry, Arya said confidently. Just trust me. My men are nearby, Leo said. If things go south, signal me immediately, you hear? Arya glanced at the dagger hidden in her sleeve. I know. After 5 minutes, remember to cut the power, but a villa like this will have a backup generator, so you'll have to cut it again. As she approached, she was on high alert. Who had kidnapped Aunt Elena? The door suddenly opened. Arya was startled by the person who opened it. Come in, the old man said. Arya's face was a mask of indifference. Is this old man a human trafficker? Once inside, the old man gestured for her to continue. But when Arya saw who was waiting for her, she was stunned. You? Meanwhile, Sterling's subordinate was reporting. Sir, we've looked into that woman, Arya. She's an ordinary reporter for the Daily Breeze. The reason she came back in such a hurry is because an elderly relative named Aunt Elena has gone missing. Sterling was puzzled. An ordinary reporter had two powerful men like Zane Vesper and Kale wrapped around her finger? She was beautiful, yes, but Zane and Kale were not men who were easily impressed. Was there something else special about her? Sir, she has somehow managed to escape from Kale twice. That is very unusual. Indeed it is, Sterling agreed. Find her. I like a woman who can play games with Kale. Yes, sir. Arya, I can't believe it's only been a few days and you've gotten plastic surgery and become so beautiful. No wonder you were able to win Evan back. Arya was not pleased. I haven't seen Evan since that day. Who did he get back together with? Don't play dumb. If it weren't for you, why would he have left me? Arya finally understood. So he dumped you. But that has nothing to do with me. I'm here for Aunt Elena. Where is she? You're too late, Sabrina said with a smile. We already got rid of her. She was calling your name until the very end, Arya, save me. Arya was speechless. Please, if you're going to lie, at least make it believable. Realizing Aunt Elena wasn't here, she asked coldly, Why did you lure me here? Seeing that she had been found out, Sabrina dropped the act. I lured you here to get rid of you. If I can't have him, neither can you. I don't want a loser like him. Only you would treat him like a treasure, Arya said, bewildered. You're willing to harm me for a man like that? Don't you think that's pathetic? Just then, the room was plunged into darkness. What's going on? People shouted. Go turn on the backup generator, someone yelled. The lights came back on. The men turned and saw Sabrina and gasped. Arya was holding a dagger to her throat. Everyone, back off, or I can't guarantee her safety. My father is a senior executive at the Sterling Group, Sabrina yelled. If you kill me, you'll be making an enemy of the entire Sterling group. Don't be ridiculous, Arya retorted. Just because he's a senior executive doesn't mean he represents the entire Sterling group. Are you still dreaming? Tell me where Aunt Elena is, or don't blame me for what I do. Sabrina finally realized the gravity of the situation. I did try to kidnap your aunt, but when I got there, she was already gone, she said, her voice filled with fear. She left a letter for you. If you kill me, you'll never get that letter. Arya paused. A letter sounded like something Aunt Elena would do. She feigned indifference. It's the 21st century. Everyone uses phones and computers. Who still writes letters? I'm not lying, Sabrina cried. The letter is on me. Arya searched her pockets and quickly found the letter. So the letter was on you all along. You should have just said so, she said with a smirk. Sabrina realized she had been tricked, but before she could react, Arya pushed her away. You're the one with no brains. Don't blame me for tricking you. A person like you deserves a scumbag like Evan. Hearing Arya's taunt, Sabrina yelled, "Get her!" But in the next second, Arya vanished into thin air, and the room was plunged into darkness again. Seeing her disappear, Sabrina was stunned. Then she screamed, "Out!" Arya stepped out of the villa and breathed a sigh of relief. Leo rushed to her side. What happened? Where's Aunt Elena? Arya took out the letter. She wasn't with them. She left on her own. She then read the letter intently. What does it say? Is something wrong? Leo asked. It's nothing, Arya said nervously. Aunt Elena told me not to look for her. Seeing her strange expression, Leo was worried. Are you okay? You seem a little down. I'm fine, let's go. This was all about that loser Evan. Keep an eye on Sabrina for me, no problem, Leo replied. That same night, Kale arrived in Serafina City. The next day, Arya went to the newspaper building. The paper knew how dangerous this assignment was, but Manager Gordon didn't tell me anything and just sent me in. Even if I lose my job today, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Her colleagues gave her strange looks as she walked past, but she ignored them and went straight to the manager's office. The door was locked. Just then, Jax walked over. Arya, you're back from your trip. Is the manager not in? Arya asked. Jax pulled her aside. He said you were too busy chasing men to do any work, and he's going to fire you when you get back. Arya's anger flared. Spreading rumors while I'm gone? I nearly died out there, and whose fault is that? Don't be angry, Jax comforted her. Manager Gordon is out at a meeting. Some company called the Phoenix Corporation wants to buy our paper. He's over there now. Arya was surprised. Buy the paper? She took out her phone and started searching. Who was this company? Why would they want to buy their small newspaper? If you're going to confront him, I'll go with you, Jax said loyally. I don't believe you're the kind of person who would neglect your work. Thank you, Jax, Arya replied. But this is my own battle. I have to fight it myself. At the Phoenix Corporation building, Kale stood by the window, his expression cold. Julian walked in. Honestly, you came all this way. Why didn't you just go find her? Why are you buying a newspaper? Why would I go find her? Kyle replied with a sneer. I'm going to wait for her to walk right into my trap. Julian teased. Oh, you've gotten smarter after being played a few times? Is the slave finally ready to become the master? Kale shot him a glare. Who are you calling a slave? Julian quickly backed down. My mistake. I won't argue with you. Those small fry from the newspaper are waiting for you. You should go. Kale looked smug. You cunning little fox. Just you wait until I get my hands on you. At the entrance to the Phoenix Corporation building, Arya looked up at the towering skyscraper. This must be the place. She took a deep breath, ready for battle. She was going to confront her manager today. To get revenge on her boss, the girl plans to crash his business meeting. Two beautiful receptionists greeted her as she walked in. Hello, Arya said, walking up to the desk. I'm a reporter from the Daily Breeze. I'm here to see my supervisor. Here's my press pass. Your supervisor is in a meeting on the 29th floor. You can wait here for a moment until the meeting is over. I can't, Arya said urgently. I have something important to discuss with him right now. The receptionist hesitated. The other one whispered, We can't let her go up. If she wanders around and upsets the germaphobe chairman, what are we going to do? His office is on that floor. Arya overheard them and was speechless. What's with me lately? Everywhere I go, I run into a germaphobe. I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait. If you go up there and something happens, we'll both be in big trouble. Humph, I'm not giving up, Arya said and walked away. Watching her leave, one of the receptionists said, I have a feeling she'll be back. She looks like she's up to something. You think so? The other one replied. A short while later, a janitor pushed a cart past them. Seeing the janitor's head was bowed, the first receptionist thought it might be her. She rushed forward and pulled off the janitor's hat. You're trying to sneak in, aren't you? The janitor was not happy. What are you doing? Are you crazy? The receptionist, seeing she had the wrong person, was embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. Hidden in the janitor's cart, Arya was giggling to herself. Hey, you thought that was me? I can turn invisible, you know. I was just waiting for someone to get on the elevator. An empty elevator moving on its own would be too suspicious. Soon, Arya was on the elevator to the 29th floor. She reappeared and took a moment to compose herself. All right, now to find that manager Gordon who tried to set me up. You dare to mess with me, I won't let you get away with it. I'll let this Phoenix Corporation know exactly what kind of person you are. But as soon as she stepped out of the restroom, she was spotted by a man. It was Julian. Miss Arya, long time no see, he greeted her. Arya was stunned. What is he doing here? But before she could react, another man came up behind her. Arya knew it was Kale. A mix of emotions washed over her. He was the last person she wanted to see. They were supposed to be over. But why did she feel a little happy to see him? Kale saw her and didn't know what to say. After a moment of silence, he said coolly, I told you you are mine. I won't allow you to leave me. His words reignited her anger. He looks like a gentleman until he opens his mouth, and then he's a tyrant. Old man, long time no see, she said perfunctorily. Being called old man annoyed Kale. He knew she was doing it on purpose. Julian, seeing their standoff, had a headache. These two are like a pair of 3-year-olds. So what's your story? Seeing him try to force a confession, Arya started to act cute. Sob, the old man is so scary, he's bullying me. Speak normally, Kale said coldly. Arya immediately dropped the act. I'm sorry, sir, I was wrong. I ran off because a very important relative went missing, and I had to come back and deal with it. I thought I was in your way, so I decided to come back and handle it myself. Seeing her admit defeat, Kale pressed his advantage. So you're apologizing, but it still sounds like it's my fault? Julian couldn't stand their bickering and stepped in. All right. You two can sort this out later. The people from the Daily Breeze are waiting for you. But there's one more thing. There's a man downstairs looking for Miss Arya. Which one do you want to deal with first? Who's looking for me? Arya asked, puzzled. Julian stroked his chin, stirring the pot. Oh, it's a young man. I think his name is Leo. Arya's heart sank. It must have been Jax who called him. Worried she was in trouble. Seeing her nervous reaction, Kale demanded, You said a relative went missing? Is this your missing relative? No. Leo is my brother, my actual brother, she quickly explained. Your last name is different from his. Your brother? Do you think I'm an idiot? Kyle retorted. Arya looked down. We grew up together, so I've always called him my brother. Anyway, he has nothing to do with this. Don't cause trouble for him. Hearing her defend him, Kale's jealousy flared, and his glare was so intense Arya didn't dare to meet his eyes. What do I do? His eyes are so scary. No wonder Julian said he had a personality problem. He was so difficult. But she had to deal with him. She peeked at him through her fingers. Seeing his expression soften, she said coolly, What? Are you jealous? Feeling threatened? Do you think you're not as good as Leo and I'm going to be stolen away? Her words caught Kyle off guard. He can't compare to me, he said smugly. Arya waved her hand dismissively. If you're so confident, then what are you so nervous about? I'm going downstairs to find Leo now. I won't interrupt your meeting. Seeing her about to leave, Kyle grabbed her arm. You're not going anywhere. You're staying with me. Don't you have a meeting? Go do your work, Arya said, puzzled. Yeah, the people from the Daily Breeze are waiting for you, Julian added. Hearing Daily Breeze, Arya froze. Wait, are you the germaphobe chairman? Are you the one buying the Daily Breeze? Are you the chairman of the Phoenix Corporation? Julian sighed at her barrage of questions. You idiot. You're only just figuring this out? Are you pretending to be dumb? Or are you really this slow? Seeing Arya's look of awe, Kale puffed out his chest. The Phoenix Corporation belongs to the Phoenix family. He then walked toward the meeting room. What Phoenix? Isn't your last name different? Arya asked, confused. In the meeting room, Kyle walked in. Manager Gordon rushed to his side, fawning over him. Mr. Kale, you're here. We were just talking about... He stopped when he saw Arya at the door. How did she get in here? If she causes trouble for me, the acquisition will be off. Arya, how dare you show your face here? He yelled. I sent you on a business trip and you spent your time chasing after unsavory men. You've brought shame on our newspaper. Arya was stunned for a moment. Then she burst out laughing. Did you hear that? Arya said, looking up. He said you're an unsavory man. Manager Gordon, realizing she had turned the tables on him, stammered. What are you talking about? I wasn't talking about Mr. Kale. I was talking about you. He trailed off, a thought dawning on him. Kale had flown in last night, and Arya was at work today. Could it be that they... As he was trying to piece it together, Kale waved his hand. She's not lying. I am that unsavory man. Take him away. Two of his men moved forward. Seeing them approach, Manager Gordon pleaded, "Mr. Kale, it's a misunderstanding. I wasn't talking about you." "Wait," Arya said, "let's not be so rough." Hearing her intervene, Manager Gordon was moved to tears. "Thank you! You truly are the best reporter at our paper." Just then, Arya took a USB drive out of her bag. "Don't thank me just yet, Manager Gordon. What if I'm not trying to save you?" She slammed the USB drive on the table. "I have evidence that you deliberately concealed the severity of the situation and put me in danger. You can look forward to some jail time." She then waved and walked out. "All right, you can do whatever you want with him now." As she left the meeting room, accompanied by the sounds of a struggle, Kyle followed her out. She turned and noticed his tie was crooked. She reached up and straightened it, then smiled. "Kale, thank you." "For what?" he asked. "For helping me get my revenge," she said shyly, and turned to leave. In Kale's office, Arya stood by the window, talking to Leo on the phone. "I'm at the Phoenix Corporation. I'm safe, don't worry. I'll explain everything later." After she hung up, Kale asked, "Was that Leo?" "Yes," she replied. "I was just letting him know I'm okay." Kale reached out and stroked her head. "Don't leave me again, okay?" Seeing his serious expression, Arya was at a loss for words. "I'm just an ordinary girl," she said shyly. "What is it about me that you're so obsessed with?" Sensing the mood was right, Kale pulled her into his arms. "I want you to walk with me through this lonely life. The current head of the Vesper family once predicted my fate. He said I was destined to be alone, with no family or love, doomed to a life of solitude." His words made her pause. Her own fate was also cursed. But she had loving parents, a normal childhood, a quiet life. He had been through so much more. Kale stood by the window, his expression cold. "I don't believe in fate, and neither do you. That's why I want you to spend the rest of your life with me. I don't need like or love, I just need you with me." Arya looked into his determined eyes. His words were still tactless, but his eyes betrayed a genuine emotion. Without thinking, she said, "Okay." "You agree?" Kyle asked, his face lighting up. Arya realized what she had said and quickly covered her mouth. "Oh no, why did I agree to that?" "Wait, that thing you just mentioned, we need to take it slow. We still have a lot of issues, so I can only say we can try." Seeing her go back on her word, Kale's face darkened. "Arya, you just agreed. Why are you saying we'll try now? What issues could we possibly have?" His grip on her arm was tight. "This is the issue," she said coldly. "This domineering attitude of yours. The second you hear the word no, you resort to force." She then laid out her rules. "First, I want my freedom. I want to go to work, and I want to have my own friends. Can you agree to that?" "You don't need to work. And you certainly don't need to be in the public eye," he replied. "And I forbid you from having any contact with other men. I am not a canary in a golden cage, do you understand?" Kale was speechless. Seeing him falter, she pressed on. "If someone you cared about was being forced to do something, how would you feel? Don't do to others what you don't want done to you." Her words reminded Kale of his mother. If she hadn't been forced, maybe she wouldn't have died. Seeing him lost in thought, Arya said shyly, "Can we just try it this way for now? We'll start as friends. You can't interfere with my work or my social life." Seeing that he couldn't win the argument, Kyle crossed his arms and said stubbornly, "Then at least you have to live with me?" Arya was exasperated. "Fine, fine. If it's just living together, I can accept that. It'll save me rent money." "All right, we've settled things. Now, you owe me a new outfit. Look, your temper has already ruined my clothes." Kale, still lost in his thoughts, said coldly, "Go find guard 2. He'll have something ready for you." Arya sighed. "Fine, I'll go find him now. I have some questions for Manager Gordon anyway." She then turned and left. After she was gone, Kale's phone rang. "Kale, Elara has called for the nth time asking where you are. She said if you don't answer, she's going to come find you." Kale hung up without a word. In the hallway, Arya was talking to Guard 2. "How did you get women's clothes so quickly?" Guard 2 coughed. "It was Mr. Julian." Hearing Julian's name, Arya understood. "This way, Miss Arya," Guard 2 said. Manager Gordon, bruised and battered, was shocked to see her. "Leave me alone. It was Evan who made me do it. If you have a problem, go find him. He gave me hundreds of thousands to help him frame you." His words made Arya pause. Why? Wasn't breaking up enough? Why did he have to try to ruin my reputation? She shakily walked out. Guard 2 followed her. "Miss Arya, you don't have to be too upset. The young master will punish everyone who has harmed you. They will be sent across the Bridge of Sighs to suffer for eternity." "The Bridge of Sighs?" she asked, confused. "What's that?" "It's a dark place at our headquarters, used for punishing criminals," Guard 2 explained. "It's separated from the young master's castle by a single bridge. All who cross it let out a sigh of despair, hence the name." His words made her even more confused. The Bridge of Sighs? Punishing criminals? Seeing her silence, Guard 2 explained, "The young master has, to a certain extent, the power of life and death. It may be different from the world you're familiar with, but I advise you to get used to it, since you are the woman our young master has chosen." Arya was speechless. "Fine," she said, "take me to Julian." Arya burst into Julian's office. "I have something to ask you." Julian, who was in the middle of some recreation, yelled, "Get out!" Arya blushed and stepped to the side. The woman with him, looking annoyed, stormed out. A moment later, Julian, now dressed, said, "Miss Arya, please knock before entering someone's office. I'm so sorry." Arya apologized. "I was in a hurry, but I really didn't expect you to be doing that in your office." Julian rubbed his neck awkwardly. "So what? I'm not a germaphobe virgin like Kale. Now, what do you want?" "Oh, it's nothing. I just came to thank you for the clothes, and can I go see Kale now?" "Kale's in a bad mood right now, but you should be fine," Julian replied. "What's wrong with him?" Julian leaned in and whispered, "I'll tell you this much. Your rival is about to appear. Be careful." Arya waved her hand dismissively. "Don't worry, I don't even have a boyfriend, so I don't have any rivals. I'm going now. You should call that beautiful lady back. I can't stand to see you so unsatisfied." Julian was speechless with rage. "Like, boss, like, whatever. You're just as difficult as Kale." Arya went to Kale's office. "You're back?" he asked, turning his head. "I saw Manager Gordon," she said softly. "And I heard some scary rumors about a bridge of size." "They're not rumors," Kale said, standing up. "They're true. Everyone who disobeys me will eventually cross that bridge." Arya looked up, meeting his gaze without flinching. "So is that a warning to me?" "A smart girl should know that my words are not to be defied," he said coolly. His words made her pause. She could feel that he was giving her a serious warning. Be obedient, don't play any games. And now he wanted to tie her to his side. But she was the last of the Silver Fox clan. She would not be so easily controlled. "Humph, I have a warning for you too," she said, pointing at him. Kale frowned. "You're warning me?" "You heard me," she retorted firmly. "I'm not some damsel in distress who will cower at your threats, and I'm not some gold digger who will cling to you just because you're rich and powerful." The more she spoke, the angrier she got. "And you're old, you're grumpy, and you're always yelling at me and being rough with me. So why should I be with you?" Kale's face darkened. "You dare to criticize me? You threatened me. Why can't I criticize you? I'm warning you, don't you ever treat me like that again," she said, then turned away. "Forget it, I'm going back to work. As for Manager Gordon, just hand him over to the police. You can't kill him for my sake." "Have you forgotten?" Kale said smoothly. "You're already my employee." Arya feigned surprise. "Oh, right, I forgot. You're my big boss now." "But I'm sorry, I quit. I, Arya, am firing you." "You're quitting?" Kale asked. "That's right." "Is there a problem?" she replied, staring at him defiantly. He turned his head and said with a sneer, "The secretary's not here." "What do you mean?" "The secretary's not here, so there's no one to process your resignation." "When will the secretary be back?" "I don't know." Arya sighed. This guy was probably going to exile his secretary just to stop her from quitting. So childish. Fine, she would deal with her resignation later. She turned to leave. Kyle watched her, a strange reluctance to let her go washing over him. He quickly caught her hand. "Where are you going?" he asked, his voice almost pleading. "What are you doing? I have my own things to take care of," she exclaimed. "You promised to live with me." Seeing his expression, she softened. "Don't worry, I'll keep my promise, but you have to let me take care of my own business first, okay?" He let go of her hand. She grabbed her bag from the table and rushed out. "I'll be back tonight. Remember to move into my villa," he called after her, his voice unhappy. "If you don't blame me for punishing you." He talks so tough, but his face is full of worry, Arya thought. How can he be so old and yet act like such a child? At the elevator, Arya checked her phone and saw a message from Zane Vesper. "Ari, I'm in Serafina City." Arya froze. "Oh no, he actually followed me here." Just then her phone rang. It was Sterling Vance. Arya's heart sank, one troublesome person after another. She composed herself and answered. "Oh, hello, Mr. Vance. Miss Arya remembers me. I'm flattered," Sterling said with a light chuckle. His words made her skin crawl. "Of course. Mr. Vance is a very unforgettable person." "Is that so? Miss Arya is also very unforgettable," he said, his voice alluring. "I've seen pictures of you from before. You look like a completely different person now." Arya laughed awkwardly. "That's because I had plastic surgery. What do you think? It turned out pretty well, right?" "Is that really the case?" Sterling questioned. "Fine, if you don't want to talk about it. Do you know a person named Sabrina?" "Of course I do," Arya said with disdain. A wicked smile spread across Sterling's face. I heard from Sabrina that you're quite formidable. You were able to break through a cordon of bodyguards and vanish from a locked villa without a trace. What is your true identity, Miss Arya? Your appearance has changed, you have incredible skills, and you're so mysterious. Why did you deliberately get close to Zane Vesper? Why don't we meet and talk about it? Otherwise, I might just tell him everything. Before he could finish, Arya burst out laughing. Ha ha! You think I deliberately got close to Zane? If you really think so, then go ahead and tell him. I'd be grateful. Seeing that she was toying with him, Sterling's voice turned cold. I'm not joking. And I also know where your Aunt Elena is. I suppose you don't care about that either. Arya's heart skipped a beat. You know where she is? Are you telling the truth? If you want to know, meet me at the Summit Cafe on Westmoreland Road in 2 hours, he said, and hung up. Arya was conflicted. This man practically had bad news written all over his face.